I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce.
Good evening, good morning to you all. Let's just go happy Thursday morning when most of you guys will be watching this. Hope you guys all had a good Wednesday night. I had a solid night. Won myself about 1.5 units. Shout out a couple people. Shout out Trent Grisham, though. That his props have been going off crazy. I know a lot of people in Discord are on that. That's free as air. Looks like I'm going to lose the Dodgers over, but Cincinnati came through. Cleveland at a big plus price. We all hit our over in Boston. That was fun, guys, huh? Kumbaya, right? That was free.
Glad we got the 8.5.
I know, right? Obviously free. I was being facetious, but
hold on. But
anyway,
people, whenever all three of us agree on picks, they
never won.
They never
won. So impossible. So, Spoon, how was your day?
Yeah, it was a pretty good day. 3-1 overall. Soriano got hurt in that one loss that I had, and they got to the bullpen early. So, gotta like it. Ready to get back to it.
I knew I was dead with my Angels first 5 because I lost like 20 cents a CLV, and I was like, "What is happening right now?" But yeah, we'll see. I would have liked to see Soriano try to pitch through that. Obviously, I don't expect him to, but it is what it is. Congratulations, TV Jones. You got lucky there. Congratulations.
It's not lucky.
It's not lucky playing one of the worst teams in baseball with their best pitcher and then him leaving in the second inning.
You play who's in front of you. You know,
I can't wait to use that line against you soon.
we B-slapped them. It is what it is. You know, we didn't even have.
It was 5-1. It wasn't that crazy. You didn't do anything.
I'm pretty sure I called a 5-1 game last night too.
You might have. Congratulations!
Congrats
on
to anybody who had the exact score prop. I'll take 10%. But yeah, it was. It is what it is. You know, their season's over. He's already got his tickets to Cancun or wherever the hell anyway. So he got hit. He's like, I'm freaking out of here. I ain't pitching anymore. So maybe I'm gonna save that 262 rodeo, right? Even though he was gonna get messed up. So Brewers do it again. They're starting to roll, getting our playoff forming groove here. So yeah. But not a bad day. I think I made like a unit. Hunter Waldrop, that 5th inning, he blew up. He was gonna go out, and then he just blew up again. So that was an L, but still gonna be up a unit unless we get some miracle runs here from the Phillies and Dodgers in the 8th.
Yeah, I know that sucks. I was hoping for some runs in that game as well. Anyway, lots to talk about on the board for tomorrow. I have 2 plays locked in. But I could be talked into a couple more. Maybe these guys push me over the edge on a couple. First game on the board, Cleveland on the road in Detroit Rock City. Tanner Bybee on the mound versus Tariq Skubal. Lots to unpack here in this AL Central battle. Let me get the exact number. I want to say Cleveland is 4.5 games back now of Detroit. So they're still trying to make their run. Cleveland, playing very, very good baseball right now. 9-1 their last 10, 15-5 their last 20. So as a matter of fact, it'd be 21. So it'd be 16-5 their last 21, 10-1 their last 11. While Detroit's sliding, they're not even playing 500 baseball right now. They do get Skubal on the mound, but he's coming off of a ball where he was kind of injured or whatever. Everything was fine. MRI said he was fine. Cleveland does know him very well. Hasn't given up a run to Cleveland, so I'm sure that the Tigers -1.5 should be free, right, TV Jones?
Yeah, everybody's gonna see Skubal and bet that, but I mean, it's not like Cleveland's killing this guy in their career. They're striking out 32%, hitting 203, 245 xSlug, and a 208 expected WOBA. So he has owned this lineup. But Bybee did see these guys earlier in the year when they were really rolling in May. 7 innings, 3 hits, 8 strikeouts, no earned. Other than that, I'm pretty sure he's given up at least 2 runs and 85% of his outings. But he pitched really well at Detroit. Now he's going back to Detroit. You already said it. Cleveland's playing damn good baseball. Detroit's kind of going through the motions, and it's starting to catch up with them a little bit. So I like Cleveland tomorrow. Take the 1.5 if you don't want the money line. would take the money line potentially, but I'm already sitting on Cleveland like 25-1 to win the division. So I'm just going to sit back and root for my ticket that they can pull this out over Scooble and close that gap and somehow pull off a miracle AL Central Division title here.
Spoon, what are your thoughts on this one? I will say the Cleveland bullpen is probably taxed above Bolivian, but I don't, and they're definitely not going to, I mean, I would assume that they're not going to have Cade Smith tomorrow. They used so many guys in the last 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, actually going back. I honestly couldn't tell you who's available and who's not available as far as the big guys. Cade Smith's probably a no, but I don't know how you lay this price with the Tiger, Spoon. Do you?
Yeah, especially with Scooble where he is after that last start versus Miami. If he's ever going to have a bad start, right now would be a very predictable time for one. I was kind of looking at the over in this game on the under yesterday. Generally, you can kind of count on that, but just where the bullpens are at and Scooble coming off injury, I think this is an over spot. 7 is too low when you have pretty taxed bullpens. I feel like Detroit eventually is going to get some runs up. Tanner Bybee coming off the best start of his season, 9 innings pitched. That's always a fade spot. I'm not in love with this game. It's too taxed from the side wise.
Yeah, it would only be Cleveland for me. I'm not going to get involved. I will say Bybee has 2 solid starts back to back, so we'll see if he can finally get back to the Tanner Bybee that we once knew and loved. But 103 pitches at home versus the White Sox, I'm not trying to back him his next time out. Next game on the board, Chris Bassett in
Ohtani.
Toronto. Who?
Ohtani, 4-0.
Damn. There's nobody on ever. Is anybody ever on base when that guy home runs? Does it ever matter?
He's the first guy in the inning, so.
I'm just saying. I would have bet that over 65% of his home runs are solo shots. Anyway, Toronto on the road in Tampa Bay. That does help. You're right. Chris Bassett on the road versus Shane Baz. I have a play in this game, but Spoon, you can kick us off first. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I'm not really in love with Shane Baz at this point in the season. Had another bad start versus the Cubs his last time out. I don't see any reason not to play on Toronto at this short price. Chris Bassett's been pretty solid the last 2 months or so. You know what you're going to get, 5 to 6 innings of 2 to 3 run baseball. And I think we have the better lineup with Toronto right now. The short price kind of throws me off, and that's why I haven't got there yet. I feel like this should be 15 cents more, but definitely Toronto for me.
TV Jones, I'm leaning the Rays, but I'm leaning their team total over 3.5. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't hate it. I kind of like an over. Like Spoon said, Baz hasn't been good. Yes, Bassett's been all right, but this Rays lineup, there were guys on base for both teams tonight, just never came home. But this Rays lineup versus Bassett, 301 average, 548 expected slug. The average expected numbers go down to 272 and 546, but they still have 5 homers, 3 doubles, 24% strikeout, 6% walk off of them. And now you're going into Tampa Bay where it's going to be muggy and humid and hot. It's going to be like 88 at first pitch. Wind is blowing in 5 miles an hour, but in that park, it's got to be really blowing in to really matter at all. So I like an over here, over 8.5. I think both guys can get hit up. And then, yes, Toronto does have their better bullpen since they didn't use them today, but Baz can give it up. I think Bassett's going to get hit up a little bit. And then Tampa Bay's bullpen is liable too. So give me the over 8.5 in this game.
Yeah, I don't hate that over. I want to play on the Rays somehow, whether it be their team total over 3.5 or the Rays just themselves. But for me, it's Chris Bassett has been very, very good. There's no question about that, especially his last 4 road starts, Yankees, Reds, Pittsburgh, Dodgers. You can't even really poke holes in that. The Dodgers start wasn't too great, but again, it's the Dodgers. It's on the road. My issue is that he's never really had a lot of success versus this Tampa lineup. I mean, obviously these two teams play in the division, so he's seen them at least 5 times since the beginning of last year. Twice this year, one decent one really bad one, but his last 2 starts in Tampa haven't really been great at all. I don't really want to have to worry about Baz, but this Rays lineup, versus right-handed pitching at home has been essentially a top 10 lineup throughout the whole course of the whole year. So I don't really worry about them putting up runs. I'm not the biggest Chris Bassett fan in general. So I also think he's coming off of 2 really important and division games that he pitched really well in. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a little bit of a letdown spot too. So Rays some way or the other. I'm just not sure exactly how I'm going to do it yet. Next game on the board. I do have a play on this one as well, and I did bet it already. San Diego on the road in New York. Randy Vasquez, the young goat, on the mound versus this Jonah Tong kid. Since TV Jones never knows when to respect Randy Vasquez, you can go ahead and kick this off. I don't know who's lost more money betting against Randy Vasquez than TV Jones. So please tell us what we can fade.
Oh, congrats. You've been right a few times about Randy Vasquez, but at the end of the day, his name is Randy Vasquez for a reason.
No. Young goat.
Yes. No. I don't know. Your young goats are
all young goats.
But Jonah Tong has not looked great since they've called him up. It's not like Mr. Clean of that they called up, who's been pretty good, but Tong hasn't looked great. San Diego's bats came alive tonight. I think they can tomorrow too. I don't hate an over, but getting plus money with the Padres, I'm kind of tempted to fire on that. I don't care for this Jonah Tong kid much at all. And then you're gonna have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lefties in the lineup tomorrow. And then the last 30 plate appearances, Jonah Tong, he's only seen 24, but he's got a 403 xFIP, a 17% strikeout rate, 13% walk rate, 50% first pitch strike. He's not getting hit hard, but he's giving up contact to these guys, and they have a 519 expected slug. So I like the Padres, maybe first 5, don't get involved with the bullpens, but Mets are just perennial chokers too. So them getting swept by the Padres, they're losing this series to the Padres. Wouldn't be a shocker. So I'm with you. Vasquez, the young goat, tomorrow leads them to a victory.
I love it. I love that you finally came around. I'm playing the over personally. Over 8.5 for me, Sauce. I guess if it's 9 now, so be it. But you said it. The first question that we always ask when Randy Vasquez is on the mound is how many lefties are in the lineup. Obviously, you addressed that. I didn't realize how bad it was, but 643 xFIP to lefties this season is just, Randy just figures it out. I don't know how he does it, but he just figures out, and he always just goes out there and gets it done. So yes, it's absolutely, but I do agree on paper, and this is a terrible, terrible spot with him. Not to mention the fact that this Mets offense has been pretty damn decent over the last month or so. I don't really worry about them, but you talked about it. Tong hasn't been great, and he hasn't been going super deep into games. It's just not a spot that I like for either one of these guys. I'm thinking that the Mets do the heavy lifting, to be dead honest with you. I know that the San Diego bats have looked decent lately, but it's just so hit or miss for me. It's just really hard for me to trust them as a whole. But again, this kid hasn't been very good, and this Mets bullpen has been one of the worst in Major League Baseball as far as giving up games. So I played the over 8.5 at a juiced -122. Spoon, your thoughts?
I like the runs here in this game. I definitely think the Mets get runs off Randy Vasquez tomorrow, but Jonah Tong, they have a bunch of faith in this kid. He went 5 and 6 innings pitched in his first 2 starts. Gave up 4 earned runs in Cincinnati, a really offensive part, but his last start versus Texas didn't make it out of the first innings. 6 earned runs. That's a terrible spot. The Padres lineup hasn't been on fire, but they have been getting to righties, so I don't think this is a spot for him either. I like that juiced over 8.5. I haven't been able to pull the trigger yet. Just not sure which way this line ends up moving, but I like runs tomorrow as well.
Fair enough. Next game on the board. Athletics on the road in Boston. JT Ginn, Brian Bayo. Spoon, you can kick us off here. Man, Boston figured it out a way to get it done today. Do you think that they can do it tomorrow at a nice, hefty price, I guess?
I mean, Bayo's not been as sharp as he's been all season his last 3 games, giving up at least 3 earned runs in every outing. These Athletics versus right-handed pitching are as hot as anybody in baseball. I think they can get runs. My question is, can Boston get runs? We were on that over today. The number went up, so that's probably what's going to keep me off it. But I think the Athletics probably are live here. JT again really struggles with lefties. Not a lot of the big bats that I'm worried about for Boston are lefties at this point. I think give me the plus money with the Athletics.
Did you see Brian Bayo's numbers versus Oakland last year by chance?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead, Trevor. Spit it out for me.
Yeah, they're beautiful if you like Oakland. This team's batting 342 with a 737 slug, 333 expected, 692 expected. JJ Bledede, I'm sorry, JJ whatever, I forget what Dallas Braden is. No, Dallas Braden has a
yeah.
Blade Bay or something. I don't know. I love.
You're
Dallas
not
Braden.
Dallas. Nobody can do it like him anyway.
No, he's one of one. I love that guy.
Yeah.
But Blade, two of 7, 2 dingers. Zach Galoff, 2 hits off of him, 2 for 6. Brent Rooker, 3 of 5 with 2 doubles. And then where's the Shea Bangaliers, 4 of 7, a double and a home run. Lawrence Butler, 2 of 5 with a home run. They hit him hard. They have a 31% strikeout rate, but they've got 7 extra base hits. Over half of their hits against them are extra base hits, and then their expected numbers are still where they're at. I like Oakland. I like their team total over. I think they get this one done. You know, Boston, hell of a win tonight. Came back, found a way. Trevor Story also 31 for 31 on stolen bases this year.
Yeah, I saw
impressive.
that. That was a good. That's crazy.
Yeah, impressive. But tomorrow's all Oakland. JT Ginn, not a guy you really feel comfortable getting in bed with, but I think this Oakland team can attack Brian Bayo. So maybe if you don't want to trust Ginn in this pitching staff, you could just go with the team total over for Oakland.
Did you see the catch that Dallas Braden made tonight off the foul ball? Classic. You gotta watch it.
I did see that. Yeah,
that was good. It would only be Oakland or who did? Or you just
we almost had a 3-1 shot.
It would only be the Athletics for me. I guess I love Bayo, but right now Boston isn't playing great over the last week and a half or so. As Trevor mentioned, he faced this Oakland team twice last year, and it was absolutely a disaster. 10 and a third innings, 9 runs. I mean, he struck a lot of guys out, but it didn't really matter. So not all those guys are there, but like he went through, a lot of these guys have seen him before. I just don't understand. I mean, JT Ginn hasn't even been that bad. His last 3 road starts, Angels, Minnesota, and Baltimore. I mean, he's going essentially 5 innings, giving up 1 or 2 runs. It hasn't been terrible, and it's not like Boston's been tearing the cover off the ball. And I mean, even tonight, I mean, it felt kind of like aided with a Kurtz error, and then they got a single, and then a pitcher didn't cover first base, which allowed Yoshida to beat the ball out to first. And I mean, it just feels like it's all aided by BS for Boston as far as their runs were coming by. I was happy about it because I had the over, but there's not a chance in hell I lay that number. And again, I love Brian Bayo, but I have to see him pitch well first. Is it a little bit of a step? Can you I don't even know if you can make a case that it's such a step down in competition. Arizona and the Yankees and Cleveland are playing well, but this Athletics offense on the road and as a whole has been fantastic this whole season, like top 5 in almost every category. So it's really hard to poke holes at this Athletics team. So I don't know if I actually get there. I want to see what the number is, but yeah, it would only be Oakland for me.
You got to imagine it goes up a little bit, right?
I would assume so, but I mean, I don't know. Some of these, like for instance, like the Cleveland number from my first 5 went down today, so I got hella CLV, but the Angels one went way up, and like nothing really happened in that Angels game. Like, so I don't really know. Sometimes I don't really know what's going on at this point, but I agree that you would think that Boston money would come in with Bayo on the mound. Anywho, Seattle on the road in Kansas City. Luis Castillo versus Stephen Kolek. Spoon, you can kick us off here. I don't even know if I can get involved. These games seems like absolute coin flips to me. Today it looked like Kansas City was going to have a nice easy win. They give it up. Then Seattle gives it up. Just a weird whack-a-mole type of series. What are your thoughts on this one with Castillo and Kolek?
What do you make of Kolek? He's been really sharp now. His last
and I get
3 or
so
4
many
starts.
DMs about this guy. Yeah, I don't think that. Yes, he's pitching really well. And I've said on this show probably 15 times that I don't think that he's a major league pitcher. Am I I'm off that stance, not yet. But he has pitched really well, and he's been going 6 or 7 innings. So I want to see it a little bit more, but yes, I agree that he has been pitching very, very good. St. Louis, Cleveland, Detroit, Minnesota. I mean, that's a lot of AAA guys, but again, I will give him credit. He looks like a major league pitcher right now. I'm still not there though.
Yeah, this is going to be Seattle at a short price for me. As impressive as Kolic's been, I don't expect that to continue. And the Seattle lineup has just been able to get to anybody recently. So I like their chances better than Kansas City versus Castillo. I think this would be a decent park for Castillo to pitch in, just the way Kaufman set up that big outfield and everything. He's coming off a few nice starts here. I think this is a decent price, minus 125 or so. I think this closes closer to 140, 135.
Yeah, you can put the over up for me. I will not be placing this bet. But I will say if there's one thing that Castillo struggles with, it's lefties. There's like 5 lefties in that lineup. I don't know what Jensen and Isabel really do for you at this point, but they are lefty bats. But like Spoon said, Seattle's been killing everybody. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Seattle do some heavy lifting tomorrow. But again, the total's at 9. Seattle's a short favorite. Everything about this just seems coin flippy and weird to me. TV Jones, your thoughts?
Yeah, I like Kansas City. Castillo on the road, and then all the lefties. I mean, on the road versus lefties this year, 366 average, 414 on base, 607 slug. The righties are hitting 267, 297 on base, but a 430 slug. Obviously not as good, but 5 lefties projected in the lineup tomorrow too. You got wind blowing out 7 miles an hour. Mariners obviously the better team, but Kansas City at home, they can be feisty, and you're going to be seeing 5 lefties in this lineup tomorrow. I think they can get to them. This kind of feels like similar to that Oakland game. Maybe just take a Kansas City team total over, get a little bit of a discount since they're at home. But Castillo has struggled all year with lefties on the road. Now you're getting wind blowing out and 5 of them in the lineup. I think he can struggle a little bit here tomorrow. So Kansas City money line or the team total.
Fair enough. Next game on the board, Miami on the road in Colorado. Sandy Alcantara on the mound for the Fish. Tanner Gordon for Colorado. Fish killed him today. I don't know if I'm laying 175 with Sandy in Colorado, but Spoon, what say you?
I was kind of looking at an under. Tanner Gordon, sometimes he goes out there and pitches really well. Versus Chicago, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned run. Dodgers, just 1 earned run. His bad starts are absolute blow-ups, so he
it's crazy.
Kill your under by himself, but he pitches at Coors, so I give him a little bit of a pass, and he's put up 4 or 5 good home starts now. And Sandy Alcantara, this guy's really turned it on the second half of the season. I think he can find a way to pitch well to this week Rockies lineup. These offenses don't completely scare me off this, but price-wise, I could only be on the under.
Yeah, you can put the Rockies up for me, Sauce. I don't know if I go to the well twice in one series with them, but like Spoon mentioned, Tanner Gordon has some pretty decent starts. If you look at over his last 7 starts at home and on the road, 2 blowups to 1 on the road in Arizona where he gave up 10, and then 1 at home against San Diego where he gave up 6, but 5. And then after he got blew up by Arizona, he came back at home, pitched well or decent, 5 innings, 3 runs against Arizona, pitched 6 innings, 1 run baseball against the Dodgers, 6 innings, 2 runs baseball against the Cubs at home, and then on the road in San Diego, his last start, he pitched really well, 6 innings, 1 run. So Tanner Gordon's actually pitching really well right now. So I actually kind of like that under 2, Spoon, but I do feel like if this game goes under, the Rockies have a chance to win this game. I actually might play this. I just want to see what this number does because obviously the Rockies are like the worst team in history, so it wouldn't surprise me if Miami took a little bit of money. TV Jones, what are your thoughts on this huge matchup here?
Huge. I don't mind Miami first 5. I mean, I guess you could play the 1.5, but Alcantara's been good. Yes, he had that blow up game.
1.5 in the first 5?
No. I meant first 5 or the 1.5.
I just wanted to be clear because the prices were crazy. I wasn't trying to be.
Oh yeah. I mean, it is Colorado, 1.5.
I know.
five.
That's why I was
That's
like,
probably not.
okay, if he's going to bet it, go ahead.
Yeah. But I mean, Alcantara, he had the one blow up game, but the last 5 or 6, he's been fine. If you and the Rockies are going to be primarily righty heavy, obviously in the lineup tomorrow. Second best xFIP on the board tomorrow. Last 60 plate appearances, 197 xFIP, a 32% strikeout rate, 3% walk rate, 67% first pitch, 34% hard hit, only a 2% barrel. And the ground balls 55%. Like he's handled righties really well. Yes, you're in Colorado, so these might get hit up a little bit, but Miami, I think he gets to Tanner Gordon, especially in Colorado here. And Sandy's been fine. He's been really well versus righties here. So I'd be down to back Sandy in the first 5 or just the Marlins a full game when you get into that bullpen. So I like Miami here. The -1's going to be like 140. So I'm not paying that for basically a money line push potential for Miami. So it would be first 5 or take the run line full game.
Couple other notes on Sandy, just really quick, because that's my guy. He has pitched in Colorado multiple times in his career, and then I hate doing this, but if you want to poke holes in Sandy, I mean, 4 of his last 5 starts have been at home. That's where he's been kind of shining, and then he started a really good start on the road against the Mets, but as we know, Citi Field's not a place where runs come by easy, so completely different environment, and he had another start in Boston where he looked good as well, but again, I could see the Rockies getting some runs off of him.
If you want to
We'll
poke holes in Sandy.
Okay. Pause. Do we have a line for this one? Has it popped up yet? Cubs on the road.
124 Reds.
Cincinnati, a small favorite. Spoon, you can kick us off on this one since it's your Cubs. TV Jones, you can fly the L if you want.
You can get plus money with the Cubs here tomorrow. Really important game for both these teams. Cubs are going to make the playoffs, but Cincinnati still has a chance with that wild card position there. They have their ace on the mound. He's coming off a really bad start for him. So I think this is a spot where he can bounce back. I think the Reds are favorites for a reason. Colin Ray has given up more than 3 earned runs in 3 of his last 4 starts now. This is Reds or nothing for me. Probably not going to play this game. Haven't had a chance to dive too deep into it, obviously, with the line just jumping.
Did the Cubs clinch today or yesterday?
Today.
Playoff spot. Today?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
You know what that means, TV Jones. Take it away.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is Reds. Reds. You can take the run line if you want. I mean, the Cubs, it's Hunter Green. The Cubs clinched today. You saw it on their Twitter. Everyone's freaking out. Congratulations on finally clinching the postseason in September 17th. Couldn't be my Brewers. And then you got a picture of PCA here. This dude looks stoned out of his freaking gourd. They ain't going to be ready. They're partying their asses off because they get to play in the postseason. This is an absolute sleepy spot. Give me the Reds big here tomorrow. Money line.
Okay. I agree with
that.
that.
Hunter Green's numbers versus the Cubs are a really good career. Over 100 plate appearances, 202 average, with a 322 expected WOBA, 27% strikeout rate. So, this should be an absolute demolition from Cincinnati tomorrow.
A lot of no decisions versus the Cubs for Hunter Green. It would only be the Reds for me. I don't know if I actually bet it. Are you actually betting this, TV Jones?
I like the Cubs.
Oh yeah. Of course, Kyle likes the Cubs. I just shit on the Cubs, so he's gonna be like, "Oh no, this is a Cubs spot."
Yesterday was the Reds. Today's the Cubs.
No.
I do like that the Cubs clinched and then they're going to have to get on a plane and travel. I like that Cincinnati is fighting for their lives right now. But my issue I wanted to point out is that Hunter Green is coming off a bad start in Oakland. That doesn't really mean anything to me, or Sacramento, excuse me. His road starts haven't been great, but his home starts, 7 innings, 1 run against the Mets, 6 1/3, 1 run against Toronto, 6 innings, no runs against Philadelphia, 5 innings, 2 runs against Milwaukee. I mean, those are his last 4 home starts against kind of like the who's who of Major League Baseball. You have the Cubs, like I said, winning the division, clinching a playoff spot, getting on a plane. I really don't like this spot. It would only be Cincinnati for me. I don't know if I actually play it, though. It's suspiciously low, so maybe the voice in the background has a point with that weird price. Next game on the board, Yankees on the road in Baltimore. Shout out for the Yankees for cashing our over today. On the road in Baltimore, Max Fried, Cade Povich. Spoon, you can kick us off here. Do the Yankees keep on a rolling here?
That's a tough one at this price.
I know.
I think it's probably more Baltimore team total or some
Over?
fashion. I can't get there with the Yankees at this price versus Baltimore right now. Tough. Cade Povich, obviously, also able to give up runs. I don't know. I could get there with the over as well. You can put me up on the board for the over.
TV Jones, what are your thoughts? I know that you watch or look at batter versus pitch. Have you seen the numbers of Max Fried versus Baltimore in his last few starts?
Last few, no. I'm just looking at overall career.
Not
26%.
great.
No,
One start at home this year, went 6 innings, gave up 3 runs, but on the road in Baltimore last year, 5 innings, 4 runs, nothing impressive. Just wanted to point that out. I know a lot of people like to look at that. Doesn't really do much for me right now, especially considering this Baltimore lineup's different. But they definitely have some guys that have seen Max Fried. Not a lot. I think the only person that has like somewhat decent numbers is Henderson, right? Or no, they both have like tiny low. It's like 3 at bats or whatever. So, what are your thoughts, TV Jones? It would only be the Yankees for me. I'm thinking about laying it, to be honest.
Lord, no. Give me the over again. I mean,
why not? Why? I'm not even talking about you. There's people in the Discord too. Why is everybody hating on the Yankees? Like acting like they can't win games? Did they like bust their parlays or something? The Yankees are 21-10 their last 30 games. We not, and I'm not talking about specifically you, but it seems like the world acts like this Yankees team isn't playing right now. Are playing well right now.
Some people don't appreciate good ball.
There.
You're a Mets fan. What are you talking about?
Go, Trevor. All right.
No, over. I mean, Baltimore today, how they didn't cash that team total over was brutal. They had 9 guys left on base against the friggin' White Sox. Now you got Max Fried. Yes, he's been fine, but he can get hit up. And now you got wind blowing out, sunny day in Baltimore. I think Baltimore has a field day tomorrow too.
I already moved on to the next game because I don't care what you have to say.
Fine.
Angels. Well, he's going to kick off this one. Angels on the road in Milwaukee. Yusei Kikuchi versus Quinn Priester. It's Quinn Priester day. Go ahead, Trevor. Take it away with your bullshit.
What do you mean bullshit? This is just it's Quinn Priester day. All we do is win on Quinn Priester day.
The dude's I'll leave Quinn Priester alone if you leave Randy Vasquez alone.
That's never going to happen. Let's be real.
Okay, then spit your bullshit.
I'll spit my bullshit. They've won like 15 or 14 to 16 straight. I forget the exact number. It's gotten so astronomically high. The numbers getting all
you can't
jumbled
count
up
to
in
20.
my head.
Okay.
Yeah, I can. I just do it some other time. But yeah, Quinn Priester day. The Brewers dominated. We've been slapping the Angels this entire series, and then they had to use their bullpen early today too, because Jose Soriano decided he's just going to call it quits after he got hit with a little line drive.
It was 104 off the bat, you jerk.
If that was Quinn Priester on the mound, he'd come back out. He wouldn't be taken out of this game. But yeah, Quinn Priester, all we do is dominate. Give me Quinn Priester, record the win. I'll probably sprinkle on the Brewers -1.5 too. Bats are absolutely cooking. Angels bullpen got used up today. Kikuchi has not been amazing, and the Brewers just dominate lefties. So give me Priester, record win for sure. Probably going to be on -1.5 also.
Yeah, it'd be Milwaukee -1.5 or the over for me. As much as I would love to go against TV Jones here, he's 100% right, obviously. Not to mention the fact that Kikuchi struggles with righty bats, and there's going to be, 2 lefties in that lineup tomorrow, unless Collins decides to use the switch as a lefty or whatever. So, yeah, on paper, it's just an absolute nightmare matchup for Kikuchi. So, and Quinn Priester's been Quinn Priester. I mean, as much as I want to talk crap to Trevor, he's been absolutely amazing. So, and the Angels haven't done anything versus a right-handed starter in like 2 weeks. So, it would only be a Milwaukee -1.5 for pass. I wish I could do something different. Spoon, your thoughts?
Welcome.
Yeah, Milwaukee -1 here. Yusei Kikuchi on the road has been a pitcher with a 5.2 ERA on the full season. not anything I'm running to back, especially versus a team like the Brewers right now, who just find ways to score runs off every lefty they see. And Quinn Priester just continues to find ways to win games. This Angels lineup versus right-handers, bottom of the barrel in baseball, 29th in WRC plus. I don't see any reason to get to the ticket window with the Angels. It's like minus 125 or so for that.
Next game on the board. This is a fun one. Giants on the road in Dodger Stadium. Logan Webb, Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound. Yamamoto looks back. Everybody was trying to get on me like, oh, he's not a top 5 pitcher. Yes, he is. Let's just stop that. Yamamoto is one of the best, if not the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. Do you want to argue about that? We can.
No, carry on. I had a tickle in my throat.
You can kick us off then, TV Jones. What are your thoughts with Logan Webb versus Yamamoto here?
Logan Webb, money line plus 135. Are you kidding me? You land 160 with the Dodgers in that bullpen. The Billionaire Boys Club, as you've famously called them. Tanner Scott tried to blow the game tonight. He did his damnedest.
It's open so bad.
I know. I was like, oh, here we go. 3-run shot with 2 outs. Come on. But they tried their damnedest. The bullpen's not been good. They let Snell go, 110 pitches because Roberts is scared of that bullpen and getting just trashed online for his managerial tactics by believing in that bullpen. So Yamamoto, yeah, he's better at home, but I still think Logan Webb is going to be able to hold this down, even if they're down 2 runs or whatever when he gets pulled and Yamamoto gets pulled. The bullpen comes in. So you're going to give me plus 135 with this Giants team that's playing really good baseball, and then I get the Billionaire Boys Club coming in to close that game. I will take 135 with the Giants money line all day.
Spoon, your thoughts?
I agree with it. Both these pitchers just saw these opposing lineups in their last start. Yamamoto pitched really well, and Logan Webb got hit up 6 earned runs, 12 base runners. I expect him to bounce back. He's a really good pitcher. This Dodgers lineup has some good bats in it, but I think he finds a way to get through 5 or 6 good innings. And once we get to the bullpens, I don't think the Dodgers have a huge advantage or anything. Plus money with the Giants at this price, it should be closer to a pick 'em.
Dodgers minus 1.5. Full send for me. Yeah, because nobody's going to bet Logan Webb at a big plus price, right? Because he's been so good.
Money line's affordable.
Oh, wait, he hasn't been good. He got smoked by the Dodgers at home. Because remember, Logan Webb at home is where you want to bet him. Logan Webb at home, smoked by the Dodgers, smoked by Arizona, smoked by the Cubs. Maybe he wasn't smoked by the Cubs, but giving up 3 runs to that offense is a travesty, in my opinion. So, smoked by the Padres at home as well. I'm only going back 7 starts. So, not to mention the Dodgers have smoked him all 3 times, the last 2 times they saw him this year. Yamamoto, I think that you saw what we saw earlier in the season and him going through ups and downs, I think is just normal of a second-year guy getting used to Major League Baseball. But I will go to bat versus anybody. This guy is one of the most talented pitchers you're going to see for a while. And I know that there's names like Paul Skeens and Tariq Skubal in this league. I'm well aware of that. But what this guy's able to do is just absolutely unholy. And we've seen it coming now the last 3 starts in a row, 10 strikeouts, only 3 walks total in over 22 innings. I think that he carves up this Giants lineup that, I mean, has been playing teams like Arizona, St. Louis, and then they lost 2 out of 3 to this Dodgers team. So I just think that this is a significant step up in competition. I 100% agree with the bullpens. I don't think it's going to matter. I think Yamamoto goes 6 or 7 innings of scoreless baseball and the Dodgers shove. I truly believe that. And I haven't been playing the Dodgers at all, but I will be betting the Dodgers tomorrow. Sauce, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, time's up, yo. Let's talk about a real sport. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah,
Go pack by million.
Screw the Packers.
Good one.
Peace. All right, I'm on the screen. Let's switch the names over. We got Jimmy and Troy waiting in the background. We're good to go. Let's get them on. You guys remember from last week? Guys from Pub Sports Radio, their NFL show, and we'll talk about it at the end, but it's Tuesday night. They go through you guys go through the whole slate, right?
Yeah, whole slate, man.
Yeah, they go through the whole slate, every single game on the board. So 16 for this week, and I'll put a link in the comments at the end so you guys can find it. Oh, let me turn the Chroma key off here. All right. Oh, let me fix your camera. That might be on my end here.
Yeah, I was wondering. It looks like I'm zoomed up.
Well, everyone's camera is in a different location, so I have to reset it every time someone joins. All right. How was your guys' football NFL Sunday last week, by the way?
It was not good.
A roller coaster.
It was not
What?
good.
Wait, you had the Eagles on this show. You had the Eagles, the Bengals.
Oh yeah, we were fine on this show, but overall it was we crushed week 1 and gave some money back in week 2, which is the week that I usually pride myself on succeeding. So it was a slap in the face. Sometimes you need one.
What was the? I thought you got every single one right on this show. Maybe I'm misremembering. What was the?
No, the Texans. I
was with you guys on that one. Yeah,
I was heavy Houston. That's really what pinned me down.
That ripped my beating heart out of my chest.
Yeah, that was a tough loss, and honestly, they have no one to blame but themselves. They had plenty of opportunities, honestly, but I'm right back on Houston again. We'll talk about that one in 2 games. We're starting off with Thursday Night Football now. You guys have already heard me talk about this game. I uploaded a video, so I'll just I don't have a bet on the game. I'm real quick what I said, summarize it in 30 seconds. I think the unit that could surprise us most in this game is I think the Dolphins could play a good defensive game, and no one's really expecting that, but I think the Dolphins defense is going to be respectable this year. This is a good defense last year, and the 2 data points, I'm not really sold on either of them. Week 1 on the road in Indianapolis against, man, nobody knew what Shane Steichen was going to do with Daniel Jones. Nobody knew. Talk about like a mystery round. Like no one knew what that offense was going to do. So they had the element of surprise, not to mention we saw the Colts move the ball in Denver, so maybe that offense is pretty good. And then last week against New England, I mean, it's a bad data point, but that's a brand new defense in Miami. Chubb and Phillips missed the entire year last year. They've got new pieces in the secondary. This is a very good defense that didn't get talked about last year. So I think if there's one unit that can jump out and surprise us on Thursday Night Football, and no one would be expecting it, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills are struggling to move the ball here and there. I don't have much faith in the Dolphins offense with that offensive line and the injuries. So it would be under. I lean towards the Bills at minus 11.5, but as of right now, I don't have a bet. I'm all ears. Jim, Troy, who wants to go first?
I'll jump in first. Yeah, I'll jump in first and hand over to Troy. Shout out to all these great cappers in the chat. And thank you, Kyle, for having us. Man, it's so many of these guys I get to rock with. Great cappers here. I've been doing shows for 8 years, Kyle, and I have tracked every single person who's ever gone on screen with me. Every single person that's been painstaking. I mean, we're talking now thousands of spreadsheets on cappers. And in the NFL, the one thing, and I've talked to Troy a lot about, is the lowest ROI of all of the football picks that have been given to me over 8 years is teasers. Teasers have been absolutely crushed. And I came in, this is my 3rd year working with Troy, not wanting, believing that teasers were trash, and so were parlays. What I've learned from Troy is that parlays can be used with some of these big favorites with a very successful ROI. And Troy's now in his 3rd year of proving it to me. I think this spread is a lot to ask for. And the big issue I have with the Dolphins right now, even though I think, this isn't an impossible cover for them, is they're dealing with the retirement of Teron Armstead. And then they lose 2 guards last game. James Daniels put on IR with the pectoral injury. Austin Jackson put on IR with the toe injury. I mean, this is already a suspect offensive line that's just being damaged badly. So I do want nothing to do with the Dolphins, and I don't want to ask the Bills on a Thursday night to cover double digits. But I did move on 2 bets here, and this is more of tracking Troy for 3 years. I moved on the Bills double result, and I tied it with the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night, an 0-2 team that we'll get into a little bit later that we've faded for 2 weeks. So I moved on the Bills double result and KC moneyline, got that plus 100. And then I also added the Bills, Seahawks, Chiefs moneyline parlay at minus 108. And that was as far as I went with it. I've invested in it. I don't want to ask for the Bills to do too much here, even though they're more than capable of it. What we see from the Bills is they get in the lead and they completely control the clock. Allen completely controls the game. They turn it into a business meeting. They don't try to do too much, and they just want to get out healthy. So those are the only two spots that I've moved on. Troy, take it away, my man.
Muted.
Wow, kick it off on mute. You cough once, try to cover it up, and you look like a fool because of it. I agree with you, Jimmy. And I moved on the same bet Jimmy did with the double result and Chiefs money line parlay. I piggybacked. And I do live with regret in some way, shape, or form, because looking at the history of this market, home favorites in the first 10 weeks of the season have just been incredibly profitable. 16-6 ATS over the past 3 years, which is as far back as my database goes, and 21-1 straight up. I came into this cap thinking, how am I going to get on the Dolphins? You know, and the more I started to dig and look under the hood, I just could not imagine, especially after watching the Dolphins' performances in the first 2 weeks. I know it's early in the season, but my whole thesis on this team, even dating back to our future show, is there's a cancer on this team. You also have a quarterback who's susceptible to injury and is clearly broken from who he used to be. Those injuries weigh a ton on you. And I think he's one bad hit, one ball on the back of his head away from being knocked out for another season and probably done with his career. And that's really sad to see, because it was really bright for Tua in this Miami Dolphins offense. But look what the Bills are able to do. Just long, grueling drives, 4+ drives of 60 yards last week, 7 drives in scoring range. That was the second most in week 2. They did the same thing in week number 1. And Josh Allen, I mean, he's just putting up MVP numbers. You just can't deny it. The problem with the Dolphins, and it's again, this is the second year I keep ridiculing this Dolphins offensive line, 28th in pass block, 29th in run block. And we're talking about the Colts and the Patriots defensive lines, which aren't really strong. So we're watching Sealer and Chubbs, their apparent fall from grace, at least thus far in the season. And this defense has just been Swiss cheese. So, I do expect the Bills to win this game. History would say they're going to cover this game. And the main thing that kept me off the Dolphins is I can't see a letdown spot in a divisional game on prime time, even though that's usually where you see the home team win but not cover. So that's kind of why I ended up rolling with Jimmy on that 2-legger.
Yeah,
it's also trying to I need some action down on this Thursday night game.
Yeah, I got none at the moment. And this is the offensive line they keep referencing, by the way, for the Dolphins. And it's tough. It's really tough to back the Dolphins going on the road into Buffalo. Now, the way Mike McDaniel coaches the offense, it gets the ball's out of Tua's hands very quickly, and it's not a downhill rushing attack. There's a lot of misdirection, a lot of motion. So, I mean, if there is an offense where a weaker offensive line could work, maybe it's the Dolphins, but I just can't see it. I can't see this.
Sure.
Yeah, I can't see.
That's a really good point with getting his ball out of his hands, and that hasn't changed. It's not like because he had these injuries, they start getting the ball out quicker. Like it was even prior to all those injuries. Yeah,
that's the way he runs the offense, and it's not just that. Even when they're running the ball, they're not handing the ball in B gap. They got the tight end coming this way. They're play action here, handing the ball here. So it's more of like a misdirection, outside zone type of run, where like maybe it could work in some instances with a weaker offensive line. But this is bad here. Last year, the Dolphins went into Buffalo, played them down to the wire. It was 30-27. Wasn't even that long ago. It was week 9 last year. So the line was 6 there. So my first thought when I looked at this game was, okay, what's changed? Why is this? Because the market was at 6 at the same exact matchup with similar rosters. And what's changed is right here. Of the 5 offensive linemen that played for the Dolphins in that game where the Dolphins almost won in Buffalo, 4 of them are not playing in this game. It's an entirely different offensive line. The replacement pieces are very, very inexperienced. And there are some injuries on the Buffalo defense as well. Ed Oliver's going to miss another game. Milano's out as well. So it's not like the Bills defense is in great shape. But yeah, this is just going to be a bullying up front, and I have no faith in Miami's offense. I do think Miami's defense will start to play better, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is just a punt fest early, where everyone's expecting the Bills to just run up and down the field because of the Dolphins' defensive numbers. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a punt fest early in this game.
It wouldn't surprise me either. And one thing to remember about this Bills defense, and you touched on, Milano, who's a big piece. Oliver was spectacular in week 1. Is they're old. And this is a very short time off from Sunday. This is an old defense. And for us looking at this Bills defense, remember that week 6, or sorry, it'll be week 7. They get Larry Ogunjobi and Michael Hoyt back, two very important defensive tackle and defensive end that were big free agent additions. And they knew Hoyt was going to be suspended when they signed him, but they didn't think they knew nothing about Ogunjobi being suspended too. This is an old defense that will, when they get those two guys added to the depth on their pass rush, their defense will likely soar. And on short weeks, this is an old defense that probably shouldn't be trusted.
Yeah. I didn't think of that. That's not a bad angle if you like the Dolphins, not with that offensive line. All right, let's go to the next game. And I do have a bet in this game, and I'll let you guys take it real quick. I think the lead story in this one is, the lead story is probably how seriously are we taking Green Bay? Is what we're seeing real, or is this the Saints from last year that started off the season 2-0 with 2 blowouts, and we're actually laying a full field goal to the Eagles in week 3 last year? Is this the Saints? We don't want to overreact from the first 2 weeks. Obviously, the Packers look extremely elite. We haven't seen the Jordan Love in any sort of uncomfortable situations, and on the road in Cleveland, if there's one thing that city can give you is an uncomfortable quarterback. There's a pass rush coming, and I think the main talking point here is the Cleveland Browns run defense. They addressed it the first 2 rounds of the draft. They went and got Mason Graham from Michigan in the first round. They went and got Schlesinger, the linebacker from UCLA, in the second round. So they always had the pass rush. They always had some pieces in the secondary. They went and addressed the run defense. They just held Derrick Henry like 23 yards. That was a weird game. Baltimore didn't beat the shit out of the Browns like the final score says they did. The Browns actually put up a fight. They did not let the Ravens run on them. I bet Cleveland here. I think this is a little bit of a sell high, a little bit of a there's no way this should be above a touchdown without overreacting to 2 weeks. I got a plus 8.5. I'm in. What do you guys think?
I'm right there with you. I backed the Browns plus 8.5. I had to take it. I think that we're gonna definitely close below the 8, probably way closer to probably a 7.25. You can get a 7 at some books, 7.5 on other books. But the first thing I open up all my caps with is what's the noise adjusted score from the weeks before? And if you look at what PFF posted as the noise adjusted score in the Browns Ravens game, it was 23-18. The problem is when you got a Browns team that falls behind, they just don't have the firepower to get back in the game. But there are some things about this matchup specifically that I like. The first being, we know the Browns want to play man-to-man. Last week, the Browns played a lot more zone coverage, but that was because they had such a mobile quarterback. You see teams kind of resort, if they're man-heavy, they're going to resort to more zone coverage because you got to deal with the mobile quarterback. That's not going to be the case. Jordan Love versus man coverage and zone coverage, I mean, it's not night and day, but there's definitely drastic splits between the two. And you got no Jaden Reed, who right now is grading out as the best wide receiver first man coverage. You got no Watson for the Packers. He's out. He was the best in first man coverage in 24. And Tucker Kraft is the next best, and he's going to have to deal with Devin Bush, who's a great coverage linebacker. So I really like some of the matchup aspects for the Browns, but also, like, I've been super high on this Packers team. I think it's a Super Bowl contender. I think what we're seeing is legit. I don't think it's the Saints. I think I know we're not really making that comparison, but we're still overreacting, right? It's still in that same ballpark because the overreaction is showing in this number. Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Packers, he's really what's selling me on this team. I really believed in Jordan Love. I've seen him make the throws inside, outside the numbers, outside the hashes, driving the ball downfield, running the polarized offense that the Packers want to run very effectively. But the defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, I think Micah Parsons really unlocked the true potential of what he wants to do. And it's just amazing, right? You got extraordinary coverages. Something that you don't see a lot is these inverted zones that Hafley's running, late rotations, pre-snap. I've talked about it now like for 2 weeks. I sound like a broken record to the pub sports community, but I really like what he's doing. But also what that does is when you're running inverted zones and you have these late rotations happening pre-snap so often, it allows the short passing game. You could flourish in the short passing game. And that's where Flacco, that's somewhere where you could trust him to get the ball out effectively, right? He's a veteran quarterback. He should be able to make some reads and get the ball out of his hands quick before the defense is fully able to set with all that, late, right as the snaps happening, all these rotations happen. So if you can make a read quick and get it out, you could beat it. So that's what I expect to see. Also, the Packers, you kind of touched on this, Kyle, is, they had two very favorable matchups. The Lions outdoors with a new play caller and new offensive line. It was just a dream situation. And then you have the Commanders, who I've been talking about having regression written all over them this year. They're going on the road. It's going to be, I think it could be a very volatile game, but I do think the Browns could be in this game. We've heard about all these massive favorites winning outright and covering at ridiculous rates. I really think the Browns are live on the money line in this game.
Agree, and I agree with with basically every single word you said, and what you said about the Packers have a favorable schedule. I wrote almost that exact paragraph in my note. We're in lockstep there. And I got to say, when it comes to Hafley, I have to hold an L, because when he got the job and they hired him at DC, I was like, Boston College couldn't stop I couldn't stop anything. What are they doing? That just goes to show you, you can watch as much college football as in the world, and it doesn't always translate over. I never know which players in the NFL draft are going to be good. I didn't know Jeff Hafley was a good hire, but it looks good. But yeah, Jim, are we sweeping here? Cleveland.
We are, absolutely. I wanted the 8.5 when it came out, and I had it queued, and I couldn't press the button. I couldn't do it. We had our Monday night live stream. Everybody on the live stream told me why the Browns were going to get destroyed. And at the end of it, I started talking to Troy, and I'm like, I got to move on. And by that point, I had to pay for the 8. It sucked. I had to pay -121 for the 8. A stand on Biz talking about Jaden Reed, who's going to get his usage. We have Jaden Reed with the broken collarbone. We already have no Christian Watson. I mean, you're taking playmakers off of a wide receiving group that we expect to get better as they get older, but they're not the strongest group. You talked about this rush defense for Cleveland. The 45 yards the Ravens rushed for, their lowest team total since Jackson took over at quarterback in 2018. So, and I like Quinshon Judkins. I think he's going to be their RB1. And Troy is so high on Harold Fannin Jr., and for all the right reasons, he should be. I moved on the Browns +8 -121, but before that, I'd already moved on Green Bay Cleveland first half under 21.5 at +100. I'd already moved on the full game under 42 at -107. I've tripled up on this game. The Browns outgained the Ravens 323 to 242. The final score gave us the 8.5. We shouldn't have received it. If we have a noise adjusted score, if that was the final score, what does this open up at? 6.5? Close at 6 or 5.5? We're taking advantage of a 41-17 score that doesn't really represent what happened on the football field. And so I'm all over it with you guys, but I didn't get the 8.5. I'm jealous of your 8.5. I got the 8, and then the under 42 full game, first half under 21.5.
And if you look, you can get an 8 out there right now. It's mostly 7.5. So if you haven't got in on it yet, you want to go grab an 8, you can get it. But it's mostly 7.5. You're going to have trouble finding it.
And you have sports scientist Jacob in the chat saying 8.5 is way too many points in a game with a projected total of 42. They're telling us there's a low volatility in this game. And that's a lot of points for a Browns team that held the Bengals to 7 yards in the second half week 1 at home. We're taking advantage of what happened last week, and that's exactly what we're supposed to do as gamblers.
Yeah, I agree. And like overreaction, usually you fade the overreaction week 2. Some of that in week 3 too. Overreaction, I agree.
It carries over.
We haven't seen Jordan Love even uncomfortable yet. I mean, he's had run support. He's had all day to throw in the pocket. He's not going to have that here. We'll see. Maybe he's the man, and maybe he just carves Cleveland up. But a lot of quarterbacks go to Cleveland and really struggle.
The use of play action does concern me because you can catch the best pass rusher in the game, Myles Garrett. You can kind of keep him on his heels a little bit. So it's going to, if they could stop the run, which I believe we're going to be able to see, the use of play action is not going to be as heavily relied upon because Jordan Love is using play action at the second highest in the NFL right now. So if they can keep him, away from second, third and short, then I think that we'll see this pass rush get to Jordan Love.
And the public is on the Packers. A lot of people on the Packers in the chat. That's all well and good. 88% of the cash is on the Packers, and this has dropped from 8.5 to 7.5. If I was on a big favorite with the public, that line better be moving in my direction.
Yeah, I switched this over, by the way, to the next screen, and I'm looking at Houston, Jacksonville, and I went right back to it after the heartbreak. I got a Houston plus 2.5. Can you still get that? Yeah, you can still get a Houston plus 2.5 on FanDuel right now. So that's what I have. Houston plus 2.5. I'm calling bullshit on the Jags rushing attack, which looks excellent in the first 2 weeks. I mean, what are they averaging? I have it right here. I'm sorry. 6 yards a carry, over 170 rushing yards per game. Success rate just under 46% per rush. The Jags have been running ball. Congrats. You played Carolina and Cincinnati. Now you're going to play Houston, probably a top 5 defense in the NFL, certainly a top 5 defensive front. So I think the whole Jags rushing attack party comes to a close here against a Houston team they always struggle against. By the way, in case you didn't know this, the Jags are 2-12 in their last 14 games against Houston. They've lost 7 consecutive home games to the Houston Texans. Houston owns Jacksonville, as crazy as that sounds. I mean, how do you get owned by a division rival like that? And it's Houston. It's not Baltimore, Philadelphia. It's Houston. Houston always beats these guys. Trevor Lawrence, shaky stat lines here. He played Cincinnati and Carolina. Man, I'm not asking you to go out there and be a Pro Bowler, but if you're putting up a 77.5 QB rating through 2 games against Carolina and Cincinnati, I think we need to start having the conversation of, do you even have it right now? Because this is Houston, and just like the Jacksonville Jags history against Houston, Trevor Lawrence has struggled against this team. He's 2-6 lifetime against them, 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, a career QB rating of 73.6. He always struggles against the Texans. The Jags aren't going to be able to run the ball on the Texans. Do I trust C.J. Stroud? No. In fact, I'm a little worried that the Jags are running a ton of zone coverage, and C.J. Stroud was so bad against zone coverage last year. It looks like he started off this year a little bit better, but he had last year against zone coverage, C.J. Stroud was 4 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, which scares the shit out of me because the Jags are running a lot of zone, but that was last year. This year, the numbers seem to be better. It's only 64 dropbacks. We'll see. I'm worried about Stroud. I'm worried about the Texans' offensive line. I really would like to see that center back, Andrews, who missed last week. I would like to see him back out there. He's listed as questionable. But yeah, I'm on the plus 2.5. Jags never beat these guys. Are you with me?
Oh, very much with you. And don't forget that I know it hurts not having Andrews in lineup, but they have their last year's starter.
Yeah.
Started 15 games last year. We're not bringing some scrub in that hasn't played with the number 1 unit. I'm right with you. Yes, I don't expect C.J. Stroud to light the game on fire. I mean, they had 12 first downs against the Buccaneers. They're just too easy to defend if Nico is the only danger. They need other weapons, of which they don't have at this point. But I want to fade the Jaguars so badly. This defense allowed a backup quarterback who threw 3 interceptions to score on 4 of his 8 drives. So not only am I on the Texans plus 111, but I now have decided to bet first half and full game overs in every single game the Jaguars are a part of. This defense is absolutely trash. We're getting this incredibly low number because the Houston offenses look so bad. I got the first half over 21.5 at minus 120, full game over 43.5 at minus 111. I'm going to fade Jacksonville nonstop all year, and I'm going to make money on overs nonstop all year. D'Amico Ryans 0-2 going into Jacksonville. This is wheelhouse. The Texans go in there, they win, they score some touchdowns, have some life offensively. Jacksonville helps out on the total. This goes over, and the Texans take care of business. Troy, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a sweep. We're all back on the Texans, and it's kind of making me a little queasy. It's making my stomach turn, but it's a market I want to bet. Yeah, I love betting the road teams in division between +2 and -2. Very profitable over the past few years. The Texans defense, I truly believe in it. They can't tackle. I don't know what's going on with their tackling right now. They're just letting guys bounce off them. They're not wrapping up. That's the one that's the one thorn in their defensive side right now. They can clean that up. Truly believe that they got a coach in place to do that. I liked what I seen from Stroud early in that game, and I feel like that when he failed on 2nd and goal from the 1 yard line, they could not get in the end zone. Something broke, and that's my only concern. Like I trust this Texans offense to grow. I think the running game is really the part that they really need to open up because they're getting good run blocking. At least that's what the metrics are saying. And if you go back and watch the tape, there's holes that are not being hit. And I hate to say that because I'm high on Chubb. I love to watch Chubb, but he's just not all there anymore after that injury. It's a pretty devastating injury. But yeah, once he failed in the red zone, you saw him kind of fall apart mentally, and things started to spiral. Before that, he was spot on. And I was talking about his ADOT last week. Well, he went from 6.7 to 9.2. That put him back in range of where he's historically been, especially when he was at his best in this rookie season. So I want to see more of that, and I'm right there with you. I'm just going to ditto everything you guys just said, right? Copy and paste. They played the Panthers and the Bengals, the Jaguars, that is. Their grades are off the charts. If you look at some of the PFF grades, if you look at film, they look not as good as how they're grading out. Let me tell you that. I do think the defense, I'm a little bit higher on the defense than Jimmy is, but Trevor Lawrence, I think there's red flags all over the place. He continues to miss easy throws, easy reads. He throws unwarranted picks, especially when he gets down in the red zone. We've seen one last week versus the Bengals, and there's red flags all over the place. When you look at his numbers and you base that off, how does that compare to the teams he's playing against? It's not looking good. Only 6% of his attempts are 20 yards plus down the field. That's the 5th lowest in the NFL, and 40% of those attempts he's thrown down the field were turnover-worthy plays. And most of his attempts, another red flag is most of his attempts that are grading out as good throws are in the center of the field, right? That's the lowest hanging fruit for a quarterback. It's the easiest throw to make. He cannot perform outside of the hashes and definitely not outside of the numbers. So I do think that, it's a perfect time, in my opinion, to fade the Jags by the Houston coming off of 2 losses, and it's time to buy low on the Texans and fade the untested Jaguars. And I bet it Texans money line, and I got the 2.5 as well.
Let's go. And I'm glad you brought up the Texans run game because I was seeing the game similarly. You look at this graphic right here. Here's the first 2 games, the Texans rushing attack against the Jags run defense. You look at this graphic and you're like, oh, the Texans can't run the ball in Jacksonville. They've played great defense against the run. You got to take into consideration the teams, Carolina and Cincinnati, 2 offenses that haven't been able to run the ball in years. And then on the Houston side, they played the Rams, who might be a very, very good defense, and the Bucs, who, when they're healthy under Todd Bowles, they always have a rock-solid run defense whenever Vita Vea is healthy.
And so does the Rams. I think last year they had a pretty damn good run defense.
That's what I'm saying. They might have played 2 top 5 defenses. Meanwhile, the Jags have shut down 2 bad rushing attacks. So I think you wouldn't tell it. You wouldn't be able to tell by looking at this graphic. I think the Texans are going to run the ball in this game. I think Chubb gets going. I think Woody Marks gets going. And if I'm Houston, I feel I have the better team. I'm going on the road against a team I feel I can beat. I'm conservative, man. I'm handing the ball off and letting my defense win this game. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a super conservative game plan, running the ball, playing some defense, letting Trevor Lawrence lose the game. All right, let's move on to the last game. I made a bet in this game, but I hate it. It was an impulsive decision, and I'm on the Giants plus 6.5. I don't like it. But what do you guys think?
Well, I'll lead off this one and have Troy lead off the Monday nighter here. Look, we've read the Eagles probably, they've made us so much money, more money than any team's probably ever made me over the last year. And we faded the Chiefs. It was easy. We faded the Chiefs both games this year. It was easy.
Religiously last year, Jimmy.
And here we have the Chiefs in the most perfect situation I could imagine. When you play a bad football team, or you play a bad team in any sport, you need accountability from the favorite. And here is an 0-2 Chiefs team on prime time. And they're a powder keg. They're angry with each other. They need one of those games where they remember and they feel good about themselves. Despite my confidence in the Chiefs here on Sunday night, I still took double result instead of the 6. And I think that the Chiefs double result is the best bet on the entire NFL card this week. I think it's an absolute smash and grab. You're going to get accountability from a Chiefs team, especially offensively. Look, their running attack is as pedestrian as it gets. I mean, it's about time we realized, and I'll say, well, you know what? Pacheco is not that good. 10 carries for 22 yards. He's getting outplayed by Kareem Hunt. This offense is not strong, but guess what? They get to go against one of the weakest defenses in the NFL. We know that they have a pass rush, but everything else is absolutely terrible. The Cowboys put up 478 total yards. Cowboys went 3 for 3 in the red zone. I truly believe that the Chiefs double result is the best bet on the entire board. And I also think that I'm going to use the Chiefs in the survivor. Save the Bills for week 5. Probably the week 5 is a tricky week for survivor pools. This week 3, week 4 is so easy. And then week 5 is tricky, and they host the Patriots, and it might be where I save the Bills for. I'm all over the Chiefs here. I'm going to get accountability from a favorite against the worst team in the league, and the ROI on that is wonderful. Chiefs double result plus 100 at 365 was magic to me.
Yeah, it would be very, very surprising to see the Giants win this game. Troy?
I'm going back to where I started with the Dolphins-Bills game, and especially knowing my history fading the Chiefs. When I piggybacked on Jimmy after actually capping this game yesterday, I had to bet the double result. I'm sure I shocked everybody because I definitely have been one to religiously fade this Chiefs team. I talk about the regression that's coming, the lack of weapons, especially without Rice and Worthy. Faded them all last year. We're 2-0, faded them this year, and it's time to zag. It's just that time. The Giants put up 37 points and 500 yards of offense. I want to fade that. That is not a repeatable performance with Russell Wilson in this offensive line. It's a perfect spot to fade this offense. But if you look at Spags and what he wants to do defensively, it does give me a little bit of pause because we know he wants to blitz. And when you blitz, you leave one-on-one on the outside. And Russell Wilson is historically much better versus blitz, but he also likely because he can just throw that moon ball in that one-on-one situation. And no matter how good of a coverage corner you are, good moon ball, the offensive player has a massive advantage. It's actually where I thrived in my college days, is catching that moon ball and high pointing it. So I know that that's a very effective play, and he's great at it. But what are the Giants going to do when they get in the red zone? This year, they're 1-7 in the red zone. They can't throw the moon ball down there, and they're completely ineffective in the red zone. And I expect that to continue versus the Chiefs team. I don't want to bet the Chiefs. And there's not a lot of science to back the Chiefs in this game. There's not a lot of X's and O's behind it. But I think the motivational and the competency factors in this game and the market is pretty neutral. It does show a little bit of value on the Chiefs' money line. I moved on the Chiefs double result with Jimmy.
All right. So, again, this was one of those, I placed this last Sunday. Like, Chiefs laying 6.5 on the road. This team looks terrible. Placed it. And then as the week progressed, look back like, I don't know if I necessarily like this. I don't think Russell Wilson can repeat anything close to that. I don't even think Russell Wilson's necessarily an NFL quarterback. No, I don't expect the Giants offense to look very good at all. But I do have to say, what we're seeing from the Chiefs offense when it comes to Mahomes, I mean, he's struggling from a clean pocket. He's struggling with his footwork. He's struggling with his accuracy. He just doesn't look good. And I think we all kind of are just like, it's Mahomes. So he went to the Super Bowl last year. He ended up figuring it out last year. But we're talking about a decent sample size where he doesn't look very good. And when I'm looking at how these teams looked so far this season, the one that jumps out is maybe I don't want to overreact. Remember, coming into the year, we all thought this Giants defense was going to be better. And I think after 2 games, maybe we're going a little bit too far saying this defense sucks. There's a lot of talent on that defense, and yeah, they got lit up by Dallas. It's a rivalry game, a division rivalry. You know how those are. They played the Commanders in the first. They played the Commanders tough in the opener. So the defense did. The defense, not the offense. The defense did. I want to be clear about that. So I think saying the Giants defense is trash or like if going that route, I think that's being a little bit impulsive. I think this Giants defense looks strong in the opener, and Sunday Night Football, MetLife, man, this place is going to be going nuts for Mahomes in town. And I think the Giants defense can play well in this one. I don't think the Chiefs can run the ball. So I look, again, I'm pretty openly saying I don't love the bet here, but I'm rocking with Giants plus 6.5. I think the defense is going to make some noise.
You know, my first feeling when I looked at the line was that's a lot of points for this Chiefs team that's shown no reason to be this big of a favorite. If you have the Giants, man, you better hope Andrew Thomas is out there.
Yeah.
Good God. James Hudson in that first drive, 4 penalties in a span of 6 plays. The Giants had 14 penalties for 160 yards. That's the most yards of penalties that the Giants have had in a football game since 1947. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed, and if the Giants' offense is dangerous with these moon balls from Russell Wilson, well, I got Spags ready to set this up, put the Chiefs' defense in a position to succeed. I imagine that Russell Wilson, after he throws his first interception, I imagine we should bet him live to throw another one. I'm just thinking about that now, but we should probably go in with Russell Wilson interception, and as soon as he throws one, bet it again. It's going to be a fun Sunday nighter, and this is what the Chiefs need. They need to be in a huge market with all eyes on them, and they need to succeed, and they're a powder keg.
Yeah, I really think Russell Wilson's going to struggle. That's what's. The more I looked at it, the more I'm like, dude, the Giants might not get a first down in this game. Like, I'm really worried about the offense. So you had sent me the Monday night game in a text. I missed it, so I don't have the graphics for it. So you guys want to do like a quick rapid fire of it? It's going to be tough for the viewer to follow if it's not on the screen. But they had sent the Monday night game over, and I just didn't even see it in the text. So Lions, Ravens, what do you guys got? But keep in mind, they can't see anything on the screen. So
I just want to bring, this is my favorite bet of the week, and despite the X's and O's, this is a pure play on the market history of what happens when a team opens at 6 points or more and closes below the 6. It's just, it blows my mind. It's what I call a cash cow market in the NFL. In the MLB, it's a big favorite I'm betting on. I call that the cash cow market in the MLB. In the NFL, it's a big road dog, and this is one that I love. So teams that open 6 or more, close below 6, are 20-9 ATS, 69%, 15-14 straight up. That's 52% on the money line. But if you take the filter down and filter to totals that are greater than 43, that improves to 14-3 ATS, 85% or 82%, and 11-6 straight up, 65%. And there's 7 games on prime time in this sample. I love the market. It's the cash cow market. I bet the 6, I bet a 5.5, and I bet the money line on this Lions team. Wow. And I'm really bullish on this spot. I mean, obviously there's not a lot to like about what we've seen from this offense, this Lions offense in week 1, but give a lot of credit to the Packers defense. We've seen them bounce back in week 2. They were the powder keg in week 2. They still got 2 dogs at tackle. This offense will come around, and there's a lot of reasons to like this defense. I think they have some athleticism to keep up with Lamar Jackson. Now, they have struggled with mobile quarterbacks in the past. It does offer some cause for some concern, but they do have the personnel, in theory, on paper, to defend against a mobile quarterback. Now, I want to see the defense play zone coverage like the Browns did. Hopefully, they're watching film, because if they watch film, this Lions team wants to play man. Hopefully, just like the Browns, hopefully they alter their defense this week to play some zone.
I like it because that's going to be an unpopular pick. I feel like everyone's going to be taking the Ravens. My initial lean was under in this one because I feel like everyone's going to expect a shootout. And I think that Lions defensive front can slow down the run game, kind of like Cleveland did. I think that Lions defensive front is stronger against the run than people think. First impressions are huge, and everyone saw Green Bay running the ball in the first half there of that opener. I think the Lions defense might be strong against the run this year, even though there's not a ton of evidence. But, Jim, what do you think?
I think the Lions may end up the best bet on the board, and I love the Ravens. This is not that let's go to last week. There was one game where this same market happened, and this is a market that Troy's been talking about for 3 years. What was the football game where we saw a 6.5 blow through the 6 and close at 5.5? It was the New York Giants at the Cowboys. Exact same market. I watched this cash over and over and over and over again. You have 86% of the cash on the spread on the Ravens, and this has gone from 6.5 to 4.5. Like, I'll keep stressing you guys, if you're on a huge public favorite, that line better be going in your direction. And if it's not, you have a 0 chance at a positive ROI long-term on those spots. The books are opening up their arms to anybody who wants to bet the Ravens. This probably keeps going towards lines, probably closes at 4, despite $9 of $10 coming in on the Ravens. There's all this talk about Goff not playing well outdoors, right? It's a story as old as time, and we saw it in week 1 at Green Bay. That was week 1 against the phenomenal Green Bay defense. Let's go back to last year. The last 2 times we saw him outside on the road were San Francisco and Chicago. 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Both games he threw for over 300 yards. The Lions will stay in this football game. They're that type of team. Now, should you sell them high after putting up 52 points against the Bears? I mean, that's the only concern. That's the only concern is we just watch them, completely dominate. But we have the advantage of we know that the 41-17 score in Ravens-Browns does not represent that football game. So we're taking advantage of that. And again, everybody watching, please, in college football and NFL football, recognize this cash cow that Troy has been talking about for 3 years. When the dog opens up higher than 6, blows through the 6 and closes at 5.5 or lower, watch how often they win outright as well as on the spread.
That's a bullish pick right there. I'm not on the Ravens, so I'm not on the other side. I was leaning under in this one. But all right, Hub Sports Radio. Guys, want to tell everyone where they can find your show. I know it's on Tuesday nights, but want to run through the schedule real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Catch us every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Pub Sports Radio. We break down the entire card, and it's my favorite show of the week. It means so much to our week. And once the work is done, you get to marinate in all of that work and make decisions throughout the week because you have this base to work with.
You get to wake up with heart palpitations because you're worried that the line moved against you.
Yeah, that's another part. But man, speaking for Troy and myself, we are so thankful to be rocking on the Sauce Network. Thank you so much for having us, Kyle. Great to be with all these great cappers in the chat. And let's go get that cash, man.
Yeah, let's have a good one. I just put the link to Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel in the comments there. So make sure you go click subscribe. I'm going to talk some college football. You guys enjoy your night.
Respect.
All right, it is Wednesday. We got Kyle Hunter and Jay Sternberger back. Same couple we had last Wednesday. We I personally had a good weekend. We saw some electric games on Saturday. That was the most fun college football weekend since last season by far. The Notre Dame game, the Pitt West Virginia game of the year, that was electric. So yeah, a real fun weekend. We're looking on to week 4. We've got 9 games lined up. And first off, before we get into it, how was your guys' weekend?
I mean, I did pretty well overall. I had a kind of bad start to the day on Saturday and finished with a lot of wins on Saturday night, so that was nice. I kind of like it when you finish strong and just, leaves you with good taste there going into the next week.
Yeah. Jace?
I also did pretty well. It was more of an emotional hedge for me on the Clemson game. I lost that pick, but I was right about them starting 1-2. So, and then I got greedy and I took Arkansas money line, and then obviously they couldn't finish that off.
No, they couldn't make a stop to save their lives in that game. So we're getting started with the Friday night game here. And I took a shot on this one. I'll go first because it'll be quick. I took over. I got 55.5. It's now down to 54.5. And I thought, now we don't know with 100% certainty whether I'm wrong or not at this moment. It gets announced tomorrow. I thought 2 weeks later, Kirk Francis is going to be cleared out of concussion protocol and play in this game. Kirk Francis, if you don't know, is the quarterback for Tulsa. So as of right now, it's still a toss-up on whether or not he's going to play. They're going to announce it tomorrow. I personally believe that if Kirk Francis is announced that he's on track to play, that this total is going to jump up a few points. They've had a freshman playing in his spot. Clearly doesn't give the offense the same firepower that Kirk Francis does. Remember, they wanted to throw the ball a lot this year. They were talking about it all camp, how they plan on throwing the football to lose the quarterback pretty early in the season. It's obviously the offense is going to take a hit. If they get Kirk Francis back in this game, I don't trust Oklahoma State's defense at all. It was terrible last year. I really think that they're able to move the ball up and down the field here in Stillwater if Kirk Francis plays, in which case I definitely think it sails over the 55.5 that I got. I like it at 54.5 as well. Tulsa's defense is not a unit I'm particularly strong on, and I know Oklahoma State's off to a rough start, as Kyle Hunter's about to talk about Oklahoma State's offense, but at home against the Tulsa defense, they can get the ball in the end zone. So I think it sails over the total if Kirk Francis plays. If he doesn't play, I might be hung out to dry here. I really thought that 2 weeks later that it would be all right, but we'll wait and see. So I'm on the over. Hopefully tomorrow when they do the press conference, they say Kirk Francis is on track to play, and then hopefully at that point we see this total shoot up to 57.5, in which case I will be a happy camper. So we'll see. Kyle Hunter, you are not optimistic about the Oklahoma State offense.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle, I'll root for like a 31-28 type game here. I think that the bettors think that Tulsa is going to play here because the line has moved toward Tulsa. We saw 13.5. It's gone down to 11.5. I don't think there'd be that kind of line move if they didn't think that Francis was going to play in this one. Of course, I mean, some people probably just want to bet against Oklahoma State based on what they've seen too. And to me, I mean, Oklahoma State put up 27 points against Tennessee Martin. UTEP scored 42 points on them. Southern Illinois, 37 points on them. I'm super concerned about the Oklahoma State offense. Gundy was money for so many years, but what happened? I mean, it's like he lost his fastball or something. NIL maybe has been his downfall in the transfer portal. Oklahoma State lost 69-3 to Oregon. They just ran the ball up the middle and played really slowly. 19 passing attempts and 42 rushing attempts. It's kind of like they just shut it down. I was surprised by that. Tulsa's offense has been kind of inefficient, but the defense has been a little bit better. They gave up 300 rushing yards to Navy last week, but Navy's offense is going to run on everybody. We know Navy's offense is very good. Tulsa's going to care a lot about this game. It's like big brother, little brother type game. I would definitely lean toward Tulsa side, but I'm going to take Oklahoma State team total under. I got 34.5. I think I see 33.5 now, Kyle. But I'm just going to make Oklahoma State prove it to me. If they score a bunch of points here and I lose, then I lose. But, this is an offense without a quarterback at this point. They're playing slower. I want to see it.
Yeah, they have been playing slower. I noticed that as well. Jace, this game was not on your list. Do you have any thoughts on it?
Oh, I definitely do. As soon as you sent that, I was like, this would be great to talk about. I'm born and raised from Oklahoma, so I always remember this matchup. And this year, I don't really respect either teams. I don't think neither of their offenses are scary. Giving Tulsa more benefit of the doubt just because they're younger and they're kind of – it should be Oklahoma State should be more better than they are, but I don't think either team is good, honestly. And so I think it could be sloppy, but a lot of points. So I'm on the over.
All right, let's do it. Hopefully, Kirk Francis is ruled in when they announce that tomorrow. We'll see. Next up, SMU TCU. I jumped on this one as soon as I mean, who's making stops in this game? When I looked at this game, it was 61.5, TCU minus 3.5. So at the time of recording, it's a touchdown and it's up to 64.5. So pretty clear all the early money has come in on TCU and the over. And I can't say I disagree with either part at 3.5. I will say at 7, I'm starting to glance over to SMU. I think it's gone a little too far. And we've seen that where the initial line movement pushes the number too far, right, to the point where there's actually value on the other side. We've seen that several times this year. The bet I have is over 61.5. That I have that in pocket. I would still lean over at 64.5, and at 7, I would lean towards the SMU side. I'll put those graphics up. Jace, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I was actually really impressed with how TCU came out against North Carolina. Granted, North Carolina, that's a whole different story, and so you can't give them too much credit, but I just like the energy that they brought. And I mean, we were all on Baylor against SMU, and I really don't think SMU is that good of a team. It looks like they're not playing with any chemistry. There's no sync right now, and I think TCU is going to get after them, and so that's why I think the line's moving the way it is. And yeah, I'm taking TCU in the points.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. I mean, we all watched that Monday night game against North Carolina, and I mean, TCU's offense. Granted, North Carolina was their first game with the new coaching staff and a brand new roster and all that. But if you watch that game, everyone had the same reaction. This TCU offense might be a problem. It was so smooth. Josh Hoover's timing with his receivers was essentially perfect throughout the entire game. It looked unstoppable. And yes, there was a little bit of disorganization on the North Carolina side offensively. But in terms of the North Carolina defense, it didn't look like there was much they could do to stop that. So in terms of Sonny Dykes and Josh Hoover and that TCU offense, I'm all in. I mean, it's going to be very strong. It's going to be very difficult to stop. I have questions on the other side of the ball because I do not believe TCU's defense is better. It's definitely better. It got better as the season progressed last year, but they have not been tested at all. They got Gio Lopez in the North Carolina offense in their first game. That offense was a mess. They looked terrible. They haven't been tested at all. And SMU, they're taking a lot of criticism, and maybe rightfully so. But in my opinion, the criticism towards SMU should be directed towards the other side of the ball, to their defense. They lost all those NFL players. I still think Jennings and their left tackles back, who missed the first couple of games, so they're healthier than they were early in the season. I still think this is one of the most explosive offenses in the country. So, look, you're not going to if you're going to tell me TCU is going to score regularly on the SMU defense, I'm with you. I think SMU is going to score right back. So at a touchdown, I lean towards SMU. But like I said, the bet I have is over 61.5. Kyle, where are you on this one?
Yeah, I can't bet anything other than the over in this game. And I mean, people that follow me know that I usually bet unders more than I bet overs. And I don't love, people say, why do you like to bet unders? I don't really love unders. I just have been better at them long term. Certainly it's fun to root for points, but I'll tell you, if you bet the under in this game, I mean, that would not be a fun watch, in my opinion. The tempo that these two teams play at, the way they throw it around, and look at the last few meetings between these teams, guys. I mean, 76 points or more in 4 of the last 5. Last year, 108 points, 66-42. The interesting thing, too, there is TCU outgained SMU by 105 yards and lost 66-42. -4 turnover margin will do that. I really like Josh Hoover, and I see him kind of climbing up the charts even for the Heisman Trophy. Now, the question is, will TCU win enough games for him to be in the conversation of that? I think that's the question, because we know it's somewhat of a popularity contest. The health of Jennings worries me just a little bit here. Kevin Jennings was kind of hobbled last week. And I don't know if you guys noticed there at the end of the game, it was 28-10 against Missouri State. And 2 minutes left in the game, and they ran a quarterback bootleg, and he kind of rolled out and gimped off the field. They helped him off the field. They haven't really said much. I don't know why you would run a quarterback run up 28-10 with 2 minutes left. I mean, all they had to do was run it up the middle or take a knee or whatever they wanted to do. But Lashley was really upset with a lot of penalties in that game. I like the TCU coaching staff better than I like the SMU coaching staff, so I think I would lean toward TCU side. TCU secondary is a strength. I think SMU can probably run on them. I mean, tempo, lots of points back and forth. I mean, I can't take anything other than an over. I will say there's a lot of different numbers here. I see anywhere from 64 up to 65.5. So definitely shop around for the best number.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say is, guys, the graphics just show whatever's at Circa. You can get a juice 6.5 if you like TCU, and you can get a 64 if you like the total. The graphics on the screen are always just going to show whatever is open at Circa. So, yeah, definitely make sure you shop around because you can get better numbers than are shown right here. And speaking of injuries, by the way, which points towards the over, SMU's defense is banged up. I don't know if either of those linebackers are going to be back. They're missing both inside linebackers in the Missouri State game. I don't know if they're coming back, and they've got a defensive lineman, Washington, I think is his name. I'm not sure if he's coming back either. So SMU's defense is not healthy. Next up, I am all ears. Jace, why don't you go ahead and take this one? This is going to be electric. I feel like this is an awesome game that no one's talking about. If it wasn't for Matt Campbell, this would probably be a preview of the Big 12 championship game right here. The problem is we have no reliable data points from either team. Both teams look absolutely elite. Neither team has played anybody. We thought a road game against UCLA should be a valuable data point. Well, it turns out UCLA is one of the worst teams in the country right now. So we have no reliable data points from either team. I'm all ears. Jace?
So this pick is going to be one of my TED Talks for today just because I have some biasm in this. Texas Tech's assistant head coach, Justin Johnson, was my tight ends coach back at Kansas. So I keep up with Tech enough to know that they're moving in the right direction, and I know that their offense is, again, I honestly haven't watched a Texas Tech game. I try to keep up with the Oregon State, but it's like the teams they're playing are so bad. There's just a lot of better football to watch at the time, and so it looks like their offense is executing and they're flying around. But at the same time, you're going against Utah's defense. And again, Utah hasn't necessarily played anybody as well. But knowing Kyle Whittingham, it's like I just don't see a bunch of points being scored on him. But Texas Tech offense can't be stopped. But none of that matters because I've been a Devin Dampier fan since day one. I watched him last year at New Mexico go crazy against Arizona, and I've just been a fan of him ever since. I predicted he was going to be the highest paid quarterback out of the transfer portal this year. I don't think I was right about that, but maybe I like him more than others. I think it might be close at first, but I'm trusting Texas Tech to give up some turnovers, and I think Utah's offense isn't. I don't think Texas is going to stop their offense, to say that.
And the graphic says 3. If you are betting Utah, you can find a juice 2.5 out there. If you look on FanDuel, I'm looking at one right now. So if you're betting Utah, make sure you shop around. Kyle, what are your thoughts?
I love Kyle Whittingham. I don't want to go against Kyle Whittingham any more than I really have to. I think here, Texas Tech's probably a very good team, but Texas Tech has played absolutely no one. I mean, it's kind of close to like Indiana levels of who they've played against so far this year. A SWAC team, Kent State and Oregon State, who appears to be pretty bad. Utah's win over UCLA, like you said, Kyle, doesn't really look great.
I mean, Oregon State might be better than UCLA.
That's the sad thing, is that that's possible. Now, a trip to Wyoming is not always easy. I mean, Texas Tech knows that. So I would say Utah's plays a little bit tougher schedule, but both of these teams are kind of unknowns when it comes to that. Certainly, Rice-Eccles Stadium, really good home field advantage. Guys, a 10 a.m. local kickoff, really strange for that. Fox has to pick a big noon game, and they're like, let's go to Utah and take the Utes in a noon game. So this one will probably start at like 12:20 after all the hype for a little while. But I would say in this one, I have to take Utah. At this price, I can only take Utah. Whittingham is a favorite of 6 or less, or as an underdog is 67-50 against the spread, 26-16 against the spread at home. So he's not done great with the bigger numbers, laying big numbers, but we're not laying a big number here. The matchup I really want to watch in this game is the Utes offensive line against the Texas Tech defensive line. Tech has a really talented defensive line. Whittingham said before the year, I love our offensive line. It's probably the best offensive line I've had. I think people probably should have listened because this guy does know about offensive lines. I think Dampier is such a fun player. Agree with Jace on that. I'm going to go Utah here.
It's tough to argue with a Utah bet historically, because it's not like we're just learning about Baron Morton. We know this guy. He's been around, and it's been a pretty consistent story with him as quarterback for Texas Tech. We know he can sling it and put points up in Lubbock. I mean, he's done that for a couple of years now. This is where we usually see him struggle. On the road, in a harsh environment, under pressure. These are the games where he looks rough. So historically, you would back Utah in this one. So if you put a gun to my head and force me to place one bet on this game, I think it would be the over. Utah, this is not the with Beck and Dampier. This is not the normal Kyle Whittingham Utah teams that we're used to seeing. This is very different. This is an explosive offense. In fact, I think the Utah offense is better than the Utah defense right now. When's the last time we've said that about a Kyle Whittingham team? That offense is insane, and what they made UCLA's defensive front look like was, I thought they were playing an FCS opponent. That Utah offensive line is so impressive. Now, looking back after seeing New Mexico bully around UCLA, it's looking like maybe UCLA's defense is one of the worst Power 4 in the country. My pick for this game would be the over, just because Texas Tech throws the ball a lot, plays a fast pace. Utah, extremely explosive offense. They could score on any play at any second. I kind of want to back Texas Tech, but I want to be clear. This would be rooting interest. I'm going to have this game on the main TV. I in my notes, I wrote I would take Texas Tech at plus 3.5. It's by no means am I saying that I think Texas Tech plus 3.5 is a great bet. I just feel like everyone's going to be taking Utah. It's a contrarian pick. I get to watch the big game with the contrarian ticket. That's it. I don't think if maybe I probably would make this game 3. So maybe if you can get a plus 3.5, I could say I have a small edge, but it's more just rooting interest. I think I think the schedule, I think the fact that Texas Tech has played nobody is maybe being hammered down a little too heavily. Utah hasn't played anybody either, but they've also gone on the road twice, which is obviously in college football a big deal. So you'd have to say Utah's played the stronger schedule. But in my opinion, we don't know anything about these two teams. So if I can get a plus 3.5, I'll bet Texas Tech, but just doing some gambling, to be honest. Next, that's a really hard game. That Texas, I can't wait to watch it. But in terms of betting it, it's really tough for me to hammer home any sort of fair price anywhere because I feel like there's so many unknowns. Next game, Troy Buffalo, and this game has been nuked from 12.5 down to 6.5. Nothing but Troy money, and I agree that the 12.5 is a little overboard, but guys, there's no Goose Crowder. He injured his shoulder again. Tucker Kilcrease is going to be starting at quarterback for Troy. I think it's gone too far. I think under a touchdown, you got to go Buffalo. Are you with that, Kyle? I haven't talked to you about this game yet.
I like Troy team total under quite a bit in this game. I'll take under 17.5 for Troy. Last week, they didn't score on offense the entire game. It scored a defensive touchdown. And if you look at Tucker Kilcrease and what he's done in the past, I mean, his PFF numbers are really, really bad. I mean, he has just not been able to do much of anything. A PFF of about 50 and a pretty large sample size, 5 turnover-worthy plays, so just 3 big-time throws. I know they're talking about possibly playing some other really inexperienced quarterbacks just because Kilcrease has looked so bad. He was 10 for 29 for 65 yards passing last week, 29 attempts, 65 yards, almost unheard of. And I think Memphis's defense is fine, but they're not some great unit that, should be able to dominate like that. Last week, Buffalo really disappointed me. I'm shocked that they look so bad against Kent State. I don't know if Kent State may be, a decent amount better than what they were in the past, or if that was just Buffalo kind of sleepwalking, but Buffalo was fortunate to even win that game. I think Buffalo shows up much more prepared in a game like this. The defense, that is definitely a strength for Buffalo, they're really better at stopping the run. And without Crowder in there, I mean, Crowder is so much better than anybody else for Troy. I think Troy will really struggle to score in this one. Troy, 217 penalty yards in 3 games. They're getting behind the sticks, having second and third and long. Not a good formula here. I like Troy team total under.
Yeah, I agree, and I really like what you said about the quarterback position. So if you remember coming into the season, a lot of people were big on Buffalo, and my hesitation was the secondary. I was like, this team got thrown all over. Like, everyone was thrown on this team last year, and kind of we're off to a similar start. The secondary looks really shaky for Buffalo, but there is one area for the Buffalo Bulls that has shown up and has played as good as advertised, and that's the defensive front. Like you said, they've done a really good job against the run, and now they've got a home game against a team that's coming in with a backup quarterback. If I think Buffalo's able to take the run away from Troy and the ball's going to be in Tucker Kilcrease's hands, he's going to have to make throws. Now, I don't think this Buffalo secondary is good, so maybe Kilcrease shocks me and comes out and just throws the ball all over the field. I don't think that's likely. He hasn't shown us he could be very effective, a very efficient passer. So I think this is a really good spot for Buffalo to put out an outstanding defensive effort. I agree with that team total under. I agree with every word you said. Now that it's down below a touchdown, look, I think the Buffalo team maybe was the victim of getting a little bit overhyped coming into the season, but to drop from 12.5 to 6.5, that's just too much. And under a touchdown, it's got to be Buffalo. I'm a little worried about the offense. It's clear that Roberson doesn't give you the same sort of production at quarterback that Agbana gave you last year, but they still have their star running back there. They still have a solid offensive line. Troy's defensive front is tough, but I don't think Buffalo's offense needs to give us an outstanding effort to cover a touchdown. I think they just got to run the football, don't turn it over, play smart, and you'll win by more than a touchdown just because the defense is going to dominate. So, but under a touchdown would it only be the Bulls for me here. Jace, this game was not on your list. Any thoughts?
I didn't have any pre-pick, but after listening to both of you guys, I feel like the way you talk, the under is a no-brainer. And especially to Kyle's point about the team total under is if he's talking about the defensive touchdown. They also had a defensive touchdown week 2 against Clemson. I think they only had like 16 points there too. And one of that was a defensive touchdown. So it's like, you can't rely on that every game that you're going to create a defensive touchdown. So I think that's a great pick. That's all I have to say about that.
Cool. The next one, we're passing the rock to you first. Man, this line is disrespectful, but it reminds me a lot, for those of you listening, by the way, we're talking about Auburn, Oklahoma, and they're currently sitting at just under a touchdown at 6.5, and that's where it's been. That's where it opened. Kind of reminds me a lot of the Notre Dame Texas A&M game. I think this line is way too high. Texas A&M ended up winning that game outright. So, all right, Jace, SEC game, huge one. Is this number too big?
I think this will be our first time disagreeing. I'm with you. I know Auburn's O-line is massive, and they're going to be dominant in the run game. But the energy that is being played by OU right now, I just feel it watching it. I think their defense, Venables has them flying around. I think they're going to be just as physical as Auburn. Granted, Auburn's going to want the revenge from blowing that lead late in the game last year. And I'm not going to dog Jackson Arnold because he won me some money 2 weeks ago, but he still needs to show himself. I didn't think he did very well against South Alabama last week. I think Mateer is hot. I think the whole team, I think OU's flying around right now, and I think it could be a 2-possession game. Honestly, again, maybe that's just me being from Oklahoma's coming out in me, but I'm just still not sold on Auburn. Their physical is crap, but so is OU. They're going to be ready, and it's a night game. Is it a night game or
3:30? 3:30.
Okay, if it's a night game, I'm a little more confident, but 3:30 is cool.
Kyle, are you with me? Auburn.
I guess I'll break the tie here, and I'm going to side with Jace on this one and take Oklahoma. I will say I like the under, though, Kyle. I think this could be a lower scoring game. I don't trust Auburn to score here. Jackson Arnold is noted for wanting to run the football more than he wants to throw the football in key situations. And to me, you look at the Oklahoma defense, I think Jace is right in that, especially the front seven, they're really, really good. I mean, they cannot get run on. I don't think Arnold's going to have those running lanes that he's had in some of those past games. And, I mean, I know it was Temple, guys, but 1.9 yards per play last week. It was 45-3 or 42-3, whatever it was, I think 42-3. And they're still just all out, flying all over the place, like Jace was saying. I'm really impressed with that defense that Oklahoma has. I think Auburn's offensive line is usually their advantage, but in this one, I don't think they really have the advantage on the offensive line when you go against that Oklahoma defensive front. So under, but if I had to bet a side, I'll go with Oklahoma here.
Here's where, okay, so I agree that Oklahoma's defensive front is a hell of a matchup for Auburn, and this Auburn team's going to want to use that elite offensive line, bully the line of scrimmage every single week, and they're probably not going to be able to do that here. Auburn's offense is probably a little bit predictable for Venables and dare Jackson Arnold to make throws over top, right? I mean, I feel like the game plan is pretty easy. We all know it. We know what they're going to do. They're going to load up the line of scrimmage and dare Jackson Arnold to make downfield throws. Is he capable of making those plays? I'm not sure. We did see, what's his name, Underwood make a few of those throws, but yeah, is he capable of making those downfield throws or not? Are they going to connect on those? We'll have to see. And if you think that he's not, I can't say I 100% disagree with you. But on the other side of the ball, I think we're getting a little bit hung up on how cool Mateer's highlights look and not enough talk about the fact that Oklahoma has no run support for this guy. Their entire offense is one player. And that's also pretty easy to game plan against. In the Michigan game, what they have, 138 yards rushing. Mateer had 75 of them or something. Like, they had no support from the running back position, and they averaged under 3.5 yards per carry as a team. Auburn's defense, yeah, Baylor was making plays on them through the air. They weren't running the ball, and that was on the road against a really explosive Baylor offense. They held them to 2.67 yards per carry in the game. This Auburn defense was giving up points to Baylor. It was all through the air, and Sawyer Robertson, and you said Jackson Arnold's a guy who likes to run the ball. I can kind of give the same criticism to Mateer, and when he does try to throw the ball, he does put it in harm's way sometimes as well. He threw a real bad pick against Michigan. What Oklahoma did against Michigan, people are looking at Michigan 29% success rate per rush. So people are looking at what the Oklahoma defensive front did to Michigan and saying, that Michigan couldn't run the ball, Auburn can't. Maybe that's true. But this Auburn rushing attack is on another level. This is not the 2023 Michigan rushing attack. That offensive line is not even very good at Michigan right now. It's nowhere close to the level of Auburn's offensive line that probably has multiple NFL players on it. This Auburn rushing attack is a step up from Michigan, not to mention Jackson Arnold gives it an added element. Look, you want to tell me Oklahoma's better than Auburn? Okay, I can get with that. Mateer's definitely has a higher ceiling. People like he's a Heisman Trophy conversation type of guy, but you're not going to convince me that they're a touchdown better than Auburn. This should be 3.5, 4. People are looking at the Baylor game. I mean, Oklahoma, none of their data points impressed me. They beat the shit out of Temple and did it in an impressive way. I don't know how good Michigan is with a freshman making his first road start. That win doesn't impress me quite as much. And if it was the offense was entirely mateer in that game. I mean, they weren't 5.5 yards per play. They weren't setting the world on fire offensively in that one. So that Michigan data point doesn't exactly blow me away. I think a win on the road in Baylor is far more impressive than a home win against Michigan with a freshman quarterback making his first road start. So, yeah, I think 6.5 is way too high. Just like I thought with the Texas A&M game, clearly there's people smarter than me taking.
I agree with you though about the Michigan. That had no implication on me wanting to side with OU. I don't think Michigan's very good as well. Again, freshman quarterback on the road, like you said. I simply because, and I won't be mad if Auburn wins because that will make that matchup next week against A&M. Everybody will be at the game. Like I love that for the university, but I just don't. I don't like Hugh Freeze. I'm not a Hugh Freeze guy, so I think I think they're gonna do something to try to outsmart something, and OU will capitalize. Because Jim, I always mispronounce his last name, Jim Nagy or Nagy. I didn't go to the Reese Senior Bowl, so I never met him. But I think what he's doing, the little changes that he's already made at Oklahoma, is helping them get on the fast track, and so I'm all in on OU right now.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people smarter than me taking Oklahoma here because I was expecting this number to come down. It didn't. That being said, it reminds me a lot of Notre Dame, Texas A&M, same situation. I thought the number was going to come down. It didn't. It also had the same thing, a revenge element from last year. Mm-hmm. Auburn should have beat this team last year. In fact, it was kind of crazy that they lost that game. It was like a couple pick sixes at the end. I don't even know how. Yeah, I don't even know how Auburn lost that game. So the added element of they should have beat them last year. They didn't because of a couple interceptions. Same thing with Texas A&M. They got their revenge. I think Auburn wins. I think they're live. NC State, Duke. I'm ashamed to put the logo up. I bet this game. Kyle, wait, actually, I think Jace picked this game, right? Go ahead, Jace.
Yeah, and I did it out of revenge just because maybe I'll help Duke get a win if I fade them this week because what they did last week was so frustrating. I didn't even get to watch the game. I'm checking it on my phone and I just keep seeing the ESPN update that Tulane's just moving the ball with ease and they just keep scoring and I was like, all right, I'm over you, Duke. I gave you benefit of the doubt against Illinois and so yeah, I'm on the Wolfpack. I think a lot of people maybe they didn't. I think a lot of people think they were going to struggle last week with Wake Forest, or that was going to be what it was. I know they did come back they were down 10, I think, right? Something like that. But, they bounced back and they ended up covering. So, to me, that's a big win. I think Duke they have no identity right now.
I'm on Duke, and it's disgusting. I just lost to them last week. So I think Duke's game plan defensively kind of writes itself here. Last couple of weeks, we've seen Duke get carved up through the air. Altmaier was making throws, and then we saw Retzlaff making throws last week. And we're coming into a game. They're at home. Their defensive line is not getting driven off the line of scrimmage. No one's running on Duke. The problem is the secondary can't seem to cover anybody. The defensive line's doing their job. They're shutting the run down. They're putting pressure on the quarterback. The secondary can't seem to cover anybody. I think that puts Duke in a very advantageous situation for this one. You got an NC State team that really doesn't pose a threat on the ground at all. Their offense is one player. It's CJ Bailey. He's a superstar quarterback. But knowing that, I think gives Duke a lot of flexibility in terms of defensive play calling. I don't think they have to respect the run. I think their defensive front can handle the run on their own, that they don't have to make any defensive adjustments to account for that. NC State has not really been running the ball. It's just CJ Bailey. So I think Duke's defense is in a position to really put CJ Bailey in some uncomfortable situations. I think he turns the ball over a couple times at this one. And on the other side, dude, I think Duke's offense is good. Mensa, I wasn't even a Mensa guy coming into the season. They've been big play machines, a lot of explosive plays. They've been moving the football. I know they lost the last couple games, but 2 games ago against Illinois, the 5-0 in turnover battle, that'll do it. I think this is an explosive offense, and this is an NC State defense that is clearly missing Tony Gibson, their DC, who's now the head coach at Marshall. I don't think this NC State defense has the same identity that it's had the last 5 or 6 years with him there. I don't trust it at all. We saw Virginia absolutely cook on this NC State defense. I don't think it's a very good defense at all. So I expect Duke defense to bounce back in a major way. I honestly think Duke wins this comfortably, but it's painful to say because I just lost with them last week. Are you with me, Kyle?
I don't want to break this tie, guys. I don't want to bet Duke. I don't want to bet NC State. I'm going to bet the over if I bet anything in this game. I'm tired of trusting Duke. I mean, I don't know what happened to that defense. Duke's defense is supposed to be better than this. Manny Diaz, definitely a defensive-minded guy. Jake Retzlaff went off against them, and I know Jake Retzlaff is not that good. So that concerns me for sure. I think Bailey is a good player, can make some big plays here. Mensah has actually played pretty well other than the turnovers. So over 58 and a half, the only way I could go in this one. Tempo relatively quick as well, and I think there'll be plenty of passing. So this game could take a little while. I'll take the over. I don't want to bet a side. I want nothing to do with the side in this game.
Next up is Kyle. You have the floor. Are you going with Sonny Cumbie here? It's Southern, for those listening. Southern Miss, Louisiana Tech is next.
I'm going to bet Southern Miss in this one. I like the dog. I think Southern Miss wins this game, so I'm going to take plus the points. 3 some places, even a little bit of 3.5s out there. But I think Southern Miss wins the game, so I bet them on the money line as well. This was my single biggest season win total bet this year was Southern Miss over 4.5. Good start to it. I think that they'll go over that. This line still kind of shows to me that the marketplace is still too low on this team. This is basically Marshall's team became Southern Miss this year. And we know Marshall was pretty good last year. Braxton's definitely the better of the 2 quarterbacks, not even close there. Louisiana Tech, their defense is good, but 2 of their 3 opponents have been Southeastern Louisiana and New Mexico State. So I don't want to crown them too quick. And LSU was in a look-ahead spot in that game for sure. Southern Miss lost to Mississippi State in game 1, and some people are like, well, maybe they're not that good. But Mississippi State's just a lot better than what they were. I think that loss has aged well because of how Mississippi State has played since then. Louisiana Tech, 111th in pass protection grade at PFF, 85th in run blocking grade. And, I mean, I don't think they've proven that they have a good quarterback. Their quarterback has scrambled a lot. He hasn't really been able to throw it around on anybody. I think Southern Miss has enough size in the middle to stop the run here. I think Southern Miss is going to win, so I'm going to take the points and the money line here.
I'll just put the under up because Louisiana Tech is maybe a believer in their defensive front. I thought it was a great run defense last year. They lose Jeremiah Johnson, the DC. I thought it would fall off this year, and it really hasn't. They seem to have another strong run defense, so I didn't really take too close of a look at this game. I think it's a tough matchup for Southern Miss. Like Kyle said, it's Marshall from last year, and what I mean by that is they need to run the football. And I think this is a tough matchup on the road against Louisiana Tech. I don't trust Louisiana Tech's offense to do shit, so it'll just be under, but I don't have much interest in this game. It's mostly a pass. Anything here, Jace?
I would say that just listening to you guys on the earlier weeks that I think Southern Miss is eventually going to put it together in the sense of that, like we keep talking about, it's basically the old Marshall team. So I think they're going to keep getting better, but I'm kind of with you. You couldn't pay me to bet Louisiana Tech or trust them, what Sonny Cumbie and them do. And, Skip Holtz is my coach in the UFL, and he's former La Tech guy. And then our quarterback was Jamar Smith. And just hearing how they talk about it, I know they're not the happiest at times with where the direction of the program's going. So give me Southern Miss. This just sounds like a good spot for them.
All right, let's move on to the next one. And Jace picked this game. It's an interesting one. Illinois on the road in Indiana, and I think Indiana got hit with some money today because did I see a 6.5? Let me scroll down. I thought I saw 6.5 in this game, and I just want to get an updated number.
Yeah, there's a couple. Yeah,
I see 5.5s, and I see a 6 at Circa at the time of recording. I'm looking at it right now, so there's 6s out there. Jace, what do you think about this one?
I'm either going to look really smart next week or I'm going to look really dumb because I got the over on this. I know it's Big Ten and it's a highly ranked, touted matchup, and you're thinking no points, but you go back to the Illinois-Duke game. Illinois was still moving the ball on Duke as well. They just couldn't get a stop. Like, Illinois' offense, they've impressed me. Altmaier, I think I'm high on Illinois' offense. I think Indiana's going to have a great plan. They're going to be at home. They're going to have all the momentum, and like I said, Duke was moving the ball against Illinois with ease, and I like this. I like Mendoza. I like Indiana's offense better than Duke's offense overall in general, and so I think both teams are going to put up points, and it's going to go over. I think in the third too. I think it's going to be high scoring.
Ooh.
I agree completely with the over, and I'll put that up. I couldn't agree more. Illinois is probably not going to be able to run the football in this game. They couldn't run the football at Duke. The reason that Illinois won that game, A, Duke turned the ball over 5 times, and B, Luke Altmaier at quarterback. And this dude looks very, very good. He's handled pressure extremely well. He's doing 2 things well this year. He's getting the ball out quickly. He handles pressure extremely well. You'll love that in a tough road start. Quarterback that gets the ball out quick. A quarterback that doesn't panic under pressure and doesn't put the ball in harm's way. In fact, I believe he has a 0% turnover-worthy play rate under pressure this year. 0. Hasn't made one mistake, knock on wood. So, yeah, he's been rock solid. He's handled it really well. And is there a quarterback in college football that is more seasoned? Is there an active college football quarterback that's more seasoned in terms of harsh road environments than Luke Altmaier? I mean, this dude, he played at Duke a couple weeks back. He's played at Nebraska, Penn State, Oregon, Rutgers, okay, Kansas, Minnesota. This dude has played it like I don't think there's an active quarterback. Maybe Nussmeier.
Nussmeier, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe Nussmeier.
Carson Beck, maybe. I don't know if there's a quarterback that's played more tough road environments than Luke Altmaier. If there's any quarterback in college football that you're like, oh, this is a guy I trust to go in there and keep his composure, it's Altmaier. We saw it in Duke. The run game wasn't there for him. Duke's defensive line was winning those battles. He made the throws. And yes, Duke gifted him a lot of turnovers, but he made the throws. So even though I do not expect Illinois to run the ball on a Cignetti defense, no one can run the ball on a Cignetti defense. That dates back to James Madison. I don't expect Illinois to run the ball here. I trust Altmaier to make throws. And on the other side, I don't really know what we got here in Indiana's offense. They didn't really look that good against Old Dominion, but it was the first game of the season, and now Old Dominion's looking like a wagon. So I don't even know what to do with that game. Obviously, they completely smoked the 2 cake games they had. Illinois defense looked terrible against Duke. I just trust Cignetti. I would imagine Mendoza's able to make throws. I agree completely with the over. As far as a side, if there's a 6, I would go Illinois. Actually, we were talking in the group chat before where like someone was saying, please give us 7. If I get a 7, I will play on Illinois here. I don't know if that's realistic, but at the current number over, I would like to get Illinois at 7 if that's at all possible. It has been moving straight. It's been nothing but Indiana money so far, so we'll see. Kyle?
I can't imagine 7. I feel like too many people would bet Illinois plus 7. So moving into that would be a big jump. I want to ask you guys before I give some of my analysis here. Which coach do you like better? Like who would you want coaching your team more, Bielema or Cignetti?
Bielema.
Oh man, I feel like more people would. I think Bielema also, but I think most, like if we did a poll, I think most people would take Cignetti.
For sure.
I think Cignetti would be the higher choice. So yeah, what's your take on this one, Jace, as far as why you'd take Bielema?
Because I'm immature and I think I know everything, and I'm a petty person and I haven't grown up yet. And I love Cignetti. I loved him at first, and then he just kept opening his mouth, and I was hearing what he was saying, and then it was like I get secondhand embarrassment really bad. And when I was watching Nick Saban talk to him and like give him shit for his comments, and like Cignetti didn't even like downplay it. He kind of just went along with it, but kind of was like, I'm gonna keep doing it anyway. Like, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Like, Nick Saban is the GOAT of college football. And like, to me, it was like, all right. And then he starts trying to compare schedules to the SEC, which, trust me, I'm very aware we all play an FCS opponent. But like, he was just downplaying his schedule completely. And I was like, all right, you're not even being realistic or reasonable. Like, you can talk shit, but at least like own up to some of the stuff. And so it's strictly off petty reasons that I would take Bielema.
Who would you take, Kyle?
Oh man, I'm probably Cignetti, but I think they're both good coaches. I agree with Jace's sentiments about Cignetti being frustrating with his comments. I guess I would take him just for starting a football team, coaching a football team. I don't like to root for that kind of behavior because I agree, that kind of trash talk and then even just continuing it along is kind of tough. But Cignetti has covered a lot of numbers. He seems to know what the spread is. I mean, he's kind of like James Franklin guys where, they're favored by 31. They're gonna score in that last minute of the game if they're up 30. Now, in a game like this, what do we do with Indiana? Because Indiana has played absolutely no one. I mean, just absolute. I was looking at Jeff Saccharin does the toughest schedules in the country, strength of schedule. 228th for Indiana. Now, there's 136 teams in FBS, which means there's a ton of FCS teams that have played a tougher schedule than Indiana, and that doesn't shock me at all because of the cupcakes they've played. I think both of these guys are good coaches. I can't learn anything from Indiana by them thumping Kennesaw State and Indiana State. I don't care. Altmaier has kind of proven me wrong. He had a lot of turnover-worthy plays last year. This year, 0 so far. So, like, he is being that cagey veteran making great decisions. I think I'd probably have to take the points if I was taking anything. There's 6, a couple random 6.5s out there at this point. I would lean that way. I don't know about the total, guys. I'm not sure what to think of the total. You guys really like the over, and I guess I could see that, but I'd rather watch this game than I would bet it. So this is one of the ones that I just want to see more than anything.
Yeah, and Mendoza, he like you said, you're taking, if you just put team A, team B, and you just put the quarterbacks, like, you're taking Luke every time, like twice on Sunday. Like, Mendoza is not like he's just like some big game changer. I personally just think he's not going to mess it up. I don't think he's going to make any crazy throws that we're just like, wow, this is a game changer. So I just wanted to be clear on that. I'm team Luke for sure on that.
Let's go, Luke. Give me a 7. But I agree with Kyle. I don't think we'll get a 7. I would imagine if this moves up to a 6.5 on some of the sharper books, that those will get bought up pretty quickly. So I don't think we'll actually see a 7. Last game that we're talking about, and this was the easiest. Well, I want to be careful how I phrase this. When I say easiest, I mean as far as my decision making. This was a very easy decision. I saw it, didn't look at anything, placed it immediately, got an over 56.5. Who's making a stop in this goddamn game? Who's making a stop in this game? No one can stop Baylor's. I would trust Baylor to go on the road against SEC opponents and score points. This offense is so explosive. They can't stop anybody. That's what they saw in the Auburn game. They played an SEC opponent in the opener. They scored. They were moving the ball flawlessly and still lost. So Baylor, the recipe for Baylor is pretty simple. They're going to score on almost every possession. They're going to give up a lot of points. So, I mean, I'm going to be considering an over in every single Baylor football game. And then you got Arizona State, a team I kind of perceive to be similar, honestly. Now, Arizona State, their defense isn't bad. Like, I think Baylor's defense, I don't want to say bad, but it's I don't think it's great. Arizona's defense is probably slightly better than Baylor's, but they went on the road to Mississippi State, and Blake Shapeman pieced them up. And yes, that was a crazy environment with the cowbells and the revenge and all that. Maybe a unique situation, but this is going to be a circus as well. I mean, this building's going to be going nuts here for Baylor. In their first 2 games, Baylor's allowing 41.5 points per game. And in terms of injuries, by the way, Arizona State's offense should be healthier. I think their RB1 Brown is back for this one. He's returned to practice. So he hasn't played since the opener. Kyson Brown, I apologize if I'm saying that wrong, but I believe he's back for this one. And then the wide receiver, Jalen Moss, I think he's coming back as well. So Arizona State they've been playing without 2 of their weapons the last couple of weeks. I think both are coming back for this game. I don't trust Baylor's defense at all. Yeah, I wrote down in my notes, so I bet over 56.5. It's at 59.5 now. I wrote I would play it up to 64. So, like, I think we're looking at a shootout. I don't know how you open this at 56.5. I still think it's too low. Over. Kyle?
I mean, I like the over too, Kyle. So we disagreed on a couple here today, but I agree completely on over in this one. I want to give an angle here that I think the listeners, viewers would really like here in this one. Weather. I like to look at weather. I think weather is pretty crucial. I've won a lot of money taking unders when it's windy and raining and things like that. But if you look at the weather, 88 degrees at kickoff, a system here, weather of 85 degrees or warmer and 10 mile per hour winds or lower in non-conference games. The over is 56.3%. That's over 500 games too, dating back to 2005. 8.5% ROI. And if you split this up by first half and second half, the second half over is done quite a bit better. So if this game starts low scoring, I love a live over in this one. I think they'll really get going. But to me, I agree with Kyle's sentiments here that Baylor's an over team. I mean, until they show me something different, they're being really aggressive on defense, blitzing a lot. Levitt's good at under pressure. I think he can scramble for a lot of yards here. I could see this being a good game running for both quarterbacks. I like Sawyer Robertson a lot. Both good quarterbacks who who can throw it or run it. And I mean, what can you say about Baylor? Baylor's a big play offense that plays super fast. I mean, they are top 10 in tempo consistently. I think Baylor probably, I mean, they're favored to win the game. If Baylor's playing from ahead, Arizona State has to play quick too. And, you know, my total on this game, I think, was 61 when I did the projections, and I like it to be higher than that. So I agree. Kyle, I'm a little bit jealous that you got 56.5. That was a sharp grab there.
Yeah, I was sitting there Sunday afternoon with NFL on all the TVs, just sitting there watching, waiting for them to open. Jace, you with us? Shootout.
Of course, absolutely a shootout. I mean, it was, what, 34-31, Baylor SMU, and Arizona State's not getting a stop. I'm on the over, but I'm honestly, the spread's not going to do anything for me. If I take Arizona State, which is I'm leaning, I'm going to take the money line, just because I think Kenny Dillingham is one of the best young coaches. I think they're very upset with how they played against Mississippi State. Tough environment, whatever you want to say, of course, but I think they would agree that they didn't give their best performance, and I think they're going to bounce back. I think it's going to be a lot like the Auburn game, where it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. Baylor is going to end up making more mistakes than Arizona State does, and I think the Baylor's quarterback's good. I just like Levitt more. He's just more versatile to me, and I think he's going to get it done.
All right, that's the last game. Kyle, where can the folks find your stuff?
At Kyle Hunter Picks there on X. We do the spaces every Friday night. Bet US show on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And my website over there is huntersportspicks.com. Free pick newsletter up there as well.
And Jace, can they follow you on Twitter?
You can start following me on Twitter. We're getting better. I'm a big live tweeter during the games. I like to troll, so just come on over. Don't take anything I say serious, though.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Talk to you guys later. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Hey, I do got a quick question. I mean, this is off the show.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for watching the marathon show, by the way. So yeah, 2 hours and change. We're done. There's a video up of me going through the Thursday night football game. You know, the uploads I do with the graphics and the stats and all that. So if you're interested in that, I'll put it in the comments right now. Just a second. So that's here. Give me a couple hours and I'll have a video up on the Thursday night Rice Charlotte game. I actually think I'm going to be betting Charlotte. I want to go through some stuff. I think everyone's too bullish on Rice, and to lay points on the road with the option, I'm good on that. I think I'm going to be betting on Tim Albin. College football heads turned their backs on their guy, Tim Albin, that they were gassing up all summer. So I think I'm going to do a video right now on Charlotte Rice, the Thursday night college football game. Thanks everyone for watching. Yeah. Talk to you all tomorrow. Later.